Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission. Free delivery. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandswimspasale.com.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. It's busy on Capitol Hill with the July 4th holiday approaching and President Trump's deadline for passing his tax and spending bill.
Republicans need to stay tough and unified during the home stretch, and we are counting on them to get the job done.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, CBS's Natalie Brand is following.
The clerk will call the roll.
Senators launched a vote-a-rama Monday morning as Republicans try to tee up a final vote on the president's tax cut and spending mega bill as early as today.
Bring amendment after amendment after amendment to the floor, so Republicans can defend their billionaire tax cuts.
Over the weekend, Republicans narrowly voted to move forward with debate, which stretched into late Sunday night.
This bill makes the 2017 tax cuts permanent. It avoids a tax increase for your family that's coming in December if we don't act now.
The Supreme Court will take up a Republican-led drive to wipe away limits on how political parties work with candidates to raise money. Zachary Shimtab is editor of the SCOTUS blog.
It's a challenge to whether political parties can be restricted from spending money on campaign advertising with input from political candidates. So this could potentially upend campaign finance regulations a great deal.
CBS's Katrina Kaufman reports the jury is now deliberating in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs.
These are complex charges: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Ultimately, racketeering conspiracy carries up to life in prison.
There's been a dramatic rescue at sea involving a cruise ship. Stacey Lynn has that.
A Disney Cruise Line ship was returning to Fort Lauderdale when a child fell overboard and her father jumped in after her. The crew threw life preservers into the water and launched rescue boats to save them, while the father treaded water with his daughter in his arms. The heroic rescue caught on video and posted on social media by passengers who cheered when the mission was complete. In a statement, a Disney Cruise Line spokesperson commended crew members for their prompt actions. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
It is hot in Europe and in the UK, where Wimbledon just got underway.
I'm sunburnt all over.
The BBC's Guy Hedgecoe is in Madrid.
50 years ago, it was extremely unusual to have a heat wave in June. Now it's unusual, but it started happening more and more. There have been 9 heat waves in June in Spain over the last 25 years.
Checking the numbers on Wall Street, stocks have been higher all day. The Dow Jones Industrial's currently up 184 points. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
We have the latest from northern Idaho on the ambush attack on firefighters. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk, in the Northgate area, a crash is blocking a lane on southbound I-5 at Northeast 130th Street. You're backed up to Northeast 125th. Travel time, Everett to Seattle, 39 minutes right now, 8 longer than usual. And you're very slow on I-5 southbound near JBLM. Travel time, Tacoma to Olympia, 1 hour and 10 minutes. About 35 minutes longer than typical. You are slow southbound on US 2 near the fairgrounds in Monroe, and also on State Route 18 from the Tiger Mountain Summit up to I-90. Traffic brought to you by the Puyallup Tribe of Indians and Firecracker Alley. Stock up for the 4th at Firecracker Alley. Learn more at www.puyalluptribe-nsn.gov.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch. What started as a response to a wildfire
Another Coeur d'Alene firefighter down, needs help immediately.
Quickly turned into a deadly ambush.
I'm pinned down behind Battalion 1's rig. It's clear to me that this fire was set intentionally to draw us in.
2 firefighters died. 1 was injured. Authorities in northern Idaho have now identified the gunman as 20-year-old Wes Rowley. They found Rowley dead with a gun nearby. No word on how he died. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office believes he acted alone. The man accused of killing his 3 young daughters at a campsite near Leavenworth earlier this month is going on the U.S. Marshal's most wanted list. Sheriff Mike Morrison tells KIRO 7 TV the manhunt for Travis Decker continues.
Peyton, Evelyn, Olivia, their deaths certainly rocked us, but it continues to motivate us. I mean, we want to find closure for the family. We want to be their voice, and we want to make sure that Travis is held accountable and given his opportunity to be in court.
He says he wants to find Decker dead or alive. Washington State will pay $8 million to settle a case in which a developmentally disabled woman was allegedly abused and neglected by her own family. Her court-appointed guardian says the state ignored more than a dozen warnings. The city of SeaTac has canceled its 4th of July fireworks show for this year and next. City spokesman David Inman cited safety concerns, pointing out last year's show drew 10,000 spectators with only 10 cops providing security.
Hosting a crowd of that size again would put our residents and visitors at risk.
He says the cancellation had nothing to do with last year's drone malfunction when 55 drones fell into Angle Lake. Hundreds of thousands of people in Seattle celebrated the city's 51st Pride Parade yesterday. More from KIRO 7 TV's Deborah Horn.
This year's theme, louder.
Speak your truth, speak your piece, and speak up.
Being gay is a privilege, and being out and being able to be who I am is a privilege.
A privilege not yet shared by all, says U.S. Representative Emily Randall, the first out member of this state's congressional delegation and a parade grand marshal.
Fight for the folks who aren't safe to be out.
A parade like no other here in Seattle, drawing crowds from near and far.
This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunshine with highs in the mid-80s. It's 78 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio.
Behold, a fiendish masterpiece from the bowels of hell! Yeah. Mondays, for I hate Mondays. They make me so steamed. Weekends, I prefer the weekends! Son of a
Welcome to the show. Happy Monday to everyone. Happy Monday to all of our listeners at home. I'm Jake Skorheim. Happy Monday to Spike, who is also at home. He's not going to be in with us today. He's come down with a little cough or something. Yeah.
Who could have given that to him?
Who could have passed that off to Spike? But I'm still here. Laura's still here. A lot of stuff to get to. We've got a lot of guests who are going to stop by, and it's going to be a great show. I promise you. Boy, this is crazy news. I want to start right with that stuff happening in Idaho over the weekend in Coeur d'Alene. Firefighters responded to a 911 call for a fire, a brush fire, and totally common thing out in that area. And we see those here in Washington State from time to time as well. Apparently, somebody called in who claimed to be a biker out in the area, and they said, "Hey, there might be a small brush fire." Firefighters respond to it. This is in, I believe it's called Kootenai County. Firefighters respond to it, and while they're up there responding to the fire, there's kind of an initial assessment that's happening. Firefighters climb up into this area, and they're looking around trying to identify what they're going to need, how many engines, if they can get ahead of it. And somebody starts shooting at them, a sniper, like somebody who had apparently lured them into this area. Horrible, scary story, worst case scenario. 2 firefighters died. One was sent to the hospitals with injuries, but I believe has now been released from the hospital. All of these details going on. Who was the shooter? Why were they shooting? Do they have any motivation? Anything they know about this guy now? So our very own Luke Ducey actually just jumped right in his car, headed on over to Coeur d'Alene. So he's actually joining us live from Coeur d'Alene. Luke, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Got here early this morning, and I tell you, a lot of people vacation here. They know the area, Coeur d'Alene, and they're driving. They know the drive from I-90. First thing that hits you when you come into this scene here, and you'll hear helicopters in the background here as well because they're still battling that wildfire. But there's smoke everywhere in this area, just from that wildfire that was intentionally set by that gunman, according to the sheriff here of Kootenai County. It was an ambush, just like you said, Jake. It was an ambush.
Oh, looks like we're
She
losing.
set the fire, according to investigators, and then waited for firefighters to arrive.
All right, Luke.
Still have me?
Yep, we're kind of losing you. I think we got you back. Go for it. It was an ambush, waiting for firefighters to arrive.
Okay. Yeah, and the one that so 2 firefighters were killed here at the scene, and then the third firefighter. We're trying to get the latest report on that firefighter. As of last night, the sheriff described that that firefighter was still clinging to life, but there was but in stable conditions. So perhaps there was a lot of improvement there as well. Now the Associated Press is now reporting that the shooter in this is a 20-year-old. His name, he was Wes Rowley is his name. We don't know a lot about him, especially we don't have any idea what the suspect's motive was. We're hearing reports that was probably from out of town, maybe from Arizona, was here working for a family member. So maybe not in this area. I've asked neighbors, do you know that name? And this is still a tight town, pretty close town. No one I've asked has ever heard of that name. So this is Canfield Mountain, really fast, where this is happening. This wildfire is still taking place. There are dozens of firefighters here. There are federal agents here now as well. So it's part firefighting. It's part looking at the crime scene as an investigation scene. It reminds me a lot of Tiger Mountain, near Issaquah, popular spot for hiking and mountain biking. So if I look up toward the scene, up the hill, it's dotted with fire vehicles, and you hear those helicopters going by. But then if I look the other way, just like Tiger Mountain in our neck of the woods, there are houses, and there's a neighborhood. There's Coeur d'Alene right down the hill there.
Yeah.
People come here every day to hike this area, and what a scary scene for them yesterday.
The crazy thing about that too, for anybody who's driven through that area, it is like you were mentioning. It's so beautiful. I mean, it is a jewel. There's so many people. It's like one of the fastest growing towns in the United States because everybody wants to move there. It's so gorgeous. But to have this guy, and we still, like you said, we still don't know the motive, why he was up there, what he was doing. Obviously, he had destruction and murder on his mind because he was sniping. Did they have any info about how long he was up there? I mean, do they know anything yet? Because the difficult part is, like you were saying a second ago, because it's an active fire, they also, when they found his body, so they found the guy's body. They believe he was the only shooter. They weren't sure initially, but they found his body with a weapon next to him. They don't know if he died from gunshot wounds from law enforcement who were trying to get him, or if it was self-inflicted. But those things are going to be tougher to determine now because that crime scene is now going to be burning. They literally had to move his body way before they would have initially or originally because they were worried it was going to get swept up in the flames.
Yeah, that's right, and I think that's why they're back up there again with a lot more equipment trying to kind of reproduce that. But they had to grab the body, and they said last night and drag that body out really quickly because there was fire all through there. One of the things they're going to be looking at is if there are any other firearms up there. They found the one gun, but they think there could be other guns, maybe stashed in different locations, like if he was shooting and then running to another station, then shooting again.
Sure.
They also had SWAT teams on the ground, Jake. They also had a sniper team, law enforcement did, in a helicopter last night. Don't know if they were shooting down, but they were there, ready to shoot at the suspect from above as well. There was a shootout, law enforcement tell us, between the suspect and SWAT. But again, we don't know know the cause of death, whether that shooter died from one of those bullets from the SWAT team or if it was self-inflicted. But a lot happening really quickly in one afternoon here, and now today the focus has really been on those 2 firefighters who were killed. We don't know the identities of those firefighters, but this is a town in mourning. It's a very tight town, and word gets around, and people are really thinking about those families. The governor of Idaho has ordered all flags at half staff as well to honor those 2 fallen firefighters.
Yeah, this is a really stark reminder of the. It's so odd because it's a similar terrain, but the Travis Decker search, which continues. This is what they're up against. If he is still indeed alive, somebody who has abilities and shooting skills. This is why it's so dangerous. If he's laying in wait, then these guys are putting their lives at line. Now, these firefighters, they were not expecting that. They were just responding to a fire. But the guys who are searching for Travis Decker, they have to do everything they can to, protect themselves in case somebody's trying to take shots at them. And it's just a really scary situation. It reminded me also. You may not remember this, Luke. How long have you been in? You've been in Washington a long time, right, Luke? You're not new to Washington. You've been here for
long enough, yeah.
Long enough.
Try me. I might remember it.
Do you remember back in 2012, that guy who SWAT members had to go off and try to find? He was wanted in the killings of his wife and his daughter in North Bend. It's back in 2012, and they ended up trying to search for this guy who was hiding up there in a bunker in North Bend, and they couldn't find him. The only reason they eventually were able to locate him, one, they found like a little smoke from a little fire to help triangulate where he was. And then the other thing that they were looking at was he had posted a picture somewhere that in the background of the picture there was like a telephone wire in the background, and they were able to use that to say, hey, where could he have possibly taken this picture from? That this telephone wire over some long expanse of trees. So what angle was he taking this picture possibly from? And they determined that he was in this certain area, and they ended up finding him. And they found his bunker, which he had dug out over the course of 8 years. Do you remember the story?
I do remember that. I remember it was something about he was convinced the end of the world was coming, and that perhaps it left a letter behind or something.
Yeah, he was like a survivalist.
Wife and daughter did not want to come with him.
It was wild, and it was like a 2-story deep hole that he dug in the ground, 20 feet long, 2-story deep. He had all of this supplies and all this gear. He had like a full-on life planned ahead down in the hole, and a SWAT team had to go in and find him. But again, it's in this very, very difficult area to go and search for somebody. You're constantly in danger of him knowing, like he knew where he was, his surroundings. Like this guy in Coeur d'Alene. He has all the advantage because he's waiting for them, and it makes the situation so scary. So thankfully, he's no longer a threat.
Yeah, I don't know if all these are coincidence, but I think what you're getting at, because I'm feeling the same thing, is there's a string of these, and now we got 2 of these incidents that are kind of closer together that involve a fugitive. At least we think it's maybe still a fugitive. Travis Decker could be dead as well, but this suspect who's dead. But they're using this terrain in the backcountry, in the wilderness, to their advantage to carry out horrible crimes. And let's hope that doesn't continue, obviously, but it makes it really difficult for anyone, especially tactical teams with the training, to go in and get them, because they are decked out in Kevlar and heavy equipment, and they've got to be safe every step of the way. And this terrain is not easy to get around in.
It's a wild story. All right, Luke Ducey, he's going to keep us up to date there, and we will check back in with him another time. Luke, thanks for making the time, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, I want to play you guys some audio. This is just wild. So here's the initial report. Just imagine you're a first responder, and in the summertime, my cousin works for CAL FIRE, so he spends a bunch of time doing this exact thing. There's fires all the time he's out in the Tahoe area. Some little fire will spark because somebody leaves behind a campfire, they throw a cigarette or whatever it might be. His job is to go out and to investigate how to fight it and where to cut the fire line in the woods and all that stuff. You're not expecting to find some crazy person out there with a gun who's ambushing you. But this is the original call that came in where they were reporting the fire. And then after that, it's pretty amazing audio of the firefighters calling back in to warn everybody else away. These are the initial guys who went there who's saying, hey, stay away. We've had people who are shot and killed. Somebody's up here shooting at us. But here's the initial fire report. Listen to this.
Central Engine 3 is on scene. Campfield parking lot. Fire is going to be north of us. The Trail 6 report appears to be accurate. We're meeting with someone right now that's a lot further. I'm going to be assuming Canfield Command. We've got reports from a bike rider probably looking at maybe close to half an acre now, moving fairly quickly in the dusk, going to be moving to the trees shortly. We're trying to gain access to the area to get an exact location.
The bike rider thing that he mentioned there is interesting because I read in one of these stories that they're still not sure exactly who called the 911 in, and because they now know that the guy was trying to lure people in. Was this the guy who set the fire calling in to 911 claiming to be just a backcountry bike rider just to get people out there? So anyway, they send fire department out there. They send the Kootenai County Fire Department and search and rescue people out there to investigate, and 2 of them end up getting shot, sniped from this guy. And so you have a third guy who's with them, who's calling back in saying, hey, everybody stay away, this dangerous situation. Listen, this is amazing audio. Listen to this.
Central BC 5, Central BC 5. BC 5 up 6. Send law enforcement right now. There's an active shooter zone. They're shot. BC 3's down. BC 1's down. Everybody's shot up here. Law enforcement, code 3 now up here. 551, 10 or 14 up here. Stop. Get out of the way. 10 or 14. Engine push 551. Do not come up here. Central, we've got another Coeur d'Alene firefighter down. Needs help immediately. We need law enforcement immediately.
Engineer to Beth, I am down. Beth, the county chief for responsible. Engineer to Beth, down. I can't move.
I copy. You can move. What's your location exactly?
We're all at the upper parking lot. Please, law enforcement, as soon as possible, get law enforcement up to the upper parking lot, the group parking lot.
So scary. Call for ambulances as well.
Central from BC 5, we're going to need multiple ambulances for ALS care as soon as we can get law enforcement in here to get these people out. I recommend we get no less than five ambulances stationed at the bottom. I don't care where we get them from. I've got 3 that I know, 4 that I'm positive of all the people that are going to need help. There's also some other pickups here. We could have pedestrians and standby bystanders that need help.
Yeah, if we can actually get 6, that would be beneficial. And if we need to pull from Spokane or Shoshone.
What was wild about this, and I believe the first call came in at just a little after 1 o'clock yesterday, so Sunday. The local sheriff there, the Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris, was at a press conference as the situation unfolded, and you're trying to make heads or tails of what's going on, and you're trying to keep the public up to date. You're also trying to warn everybody in the area. It's a lockdown situation. You have an active shooter. You don't know how to protect people. At the same time, you have a fire that's now burning, so you're going to have to possibly evacuate people out of their homes. This is just the worst case scenario. Listen to this as they try to make sense of it, though.
So at approximately 1:21 p.m. this afternoon, we received reports of a fire on the east side of Canfield Mountain. Fire assets responded to the scene, and at approximately 2 p.m. this afternoon, it was reported that firefighters were receiving shots fired at them. We now have 2 deaths. We have an unknown amount of casualties. We still have civilians that are coming off of that mountain. We might have civilians that are stuck or in shock on that mountain. So this is a very, very fresh situation. We are actively taking sniper fire as we speak. This is a...
I'm just pausing that real fast. Can you imagine that? How do you even respond to that? And like you said, this is a super busy area for tourists. So you have people out there who could be hiking or biking or backcountry, whatever they're doing out there. So that's an impossible job for law enforcement. It's unbelievable. They're trying to stop a fire. They're taking shots from a sniper. They're also trying to protect people on the trail. They're also hunting for the guy to stop him from shooting people. But anybody that you might see might just be a person hiking, or it could also be a person who's trying to kill you. Unbelievable.
This is an active situation. We have multiple agencies that are on scene from local and federal authorities, and we are prepared to neutralize this suspect who is currently actively shooting at public safety personnel. We are prepared to neutralize this suspect as quickly as possible.
All right, so the update obviously is thankfully that suspect has been neutralized. They don't yet know if it was self-inflicted or if it was in the firefight that ensued. But just a crazy story. The fire's still burning, and we have some footage here. We'll show you guys in just a little bit. Kind of amazing. There was a miles-long procession of law enforcement and also fire department vehicles to remember these two fallen firefighters. And we'll play you that video a little bit later. I believe the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department put that video out. And it's just, when you know everything that happened, and you think about the families of these firefighters who are just out there doing their job, just trying to keep the public safe, and now they've lost their lives. If you're a praying person, maybe say a prayer for those families today. All right, we have a lot more coming up. Chris Sullivan's going to join us next. It's a busy, busy week. It's 4th of July week, which means a lot of travel. What are people going to be doing? How much can you expect to pay in gas? Because guess what? We got a gas tax that kicks in tomorrow. That's going to be fun. We'll talk about it with Chris next. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This hour is brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino.
You listen to the John Curley Show every afternoon. What does John listen to every morning?
I listen to Charlie and Manda, get my pot of coffee going, then turn on Seattle's Morning News. And I begin to build my show that way. And you want straight news without opinion, just giving it to you with the facts. There's only one place to go, Seattle's Morning News.
The perfect bookends to your daily commute. Seattle's Morning News and the John Curley Show on KIRO News Radio. Download the KIRO News Radio app to listen anytime.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day out for baseball here at T-Mobile Park.
Home. Home is where you gather with friends, with family.
Ball to right field. It continues. Jorge Polanco.
Sometimes even folks you don't know. But in a way, you do. Because you share at least one thing in common. And one thing can be pretty powerful when it's multiplied by 40,000.
Everybody on their feet here at T-Mobile Park.
Mariners baseball. Welcome home.
Cal and the Mariners are back in town this week, and the homestand gets started with 3 straight value games against the Royals, tonight through Wednesday. Score seats for as little as $11 and enjoy a beautiful summer night at the ballpark. Go to mariners.com/value games to lock in your seats and check out the complete Mariners value game schedule for the rest of the season.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in the parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was taking my side hustle full time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission. Free delivery. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty, so you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
Need a new roof, a deck, siding, windows? Get up to $3,000 off any new installation. Hi, it's Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Home projects can add up fast, but we're here to help you save big. Book now and lock in up to $3,000 off in savings. That's $3,000 off any new installation. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch.
Law enforcement, right now there's an active shooter zone. Everybody shot up here.
We now have the name of the man accused of setting a wildfire in northern Idaho and then shooting at firefighters who responded, killing two, critically wounding a third. Authorities say he's 20-year-old Wes Rowley. They found his body with a gun nearby. No cause given for his death or motive for the deadly ambush.
Unbelievable. You just don't expect somebody to do that to a firefighter, of all people.
That's left a community mourning. A Seattle area doctor busted as part of what the Justice Department is calling the biggest healthcare fraud takedown in U.S. history.
An anesthesiology resident is accused of stealing narcotics, including fentanyl, from local hospitals. The Department of Justice claims Andrew Vogel-Potidera used the drugs while treating patients at Seattle Children's, Harborview, and University of Washington Medical Center. And Seattle-based Pinnacle Health PC is agreeing to pay over $1 million to settle claims that it billed the government for unapproved experimental treatments. Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
All told, 324 people are charged with bilking the government out of nearly $15 billion, exploiting patients and taxpayers. A group of multicare workers in Parkland today started what they say will be a 5-day strike to call attention to their demands for better pay and improved staffing levels. Multicare says it is bargaining in good faith and will remain open during the strike. President Trump wants what he calls his big, beautiful budget bill passed before Independence Day. But as CBS's Nicole Killian reports, there's more work to be done in the U.S. Senate.
Before they get to that final vote, they will hold this series of amendment votes, which could be unlimited, meaning it will stretch well throughout the day.
Tomorrow, the president's expected to attend the opening of a temporary migrant detention center in Florida that's being dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says it'll be a secure facility.
When you have illegal
murderers and rapists and heinous criminals in a detention facility surrounded by alligators, yes, I do think that's a deterrent for them to try to escape.
Hundreds of people protested at the site yesterday. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 220 points. NASDAQ ahead 96. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk in the Northgate area, a crash is blocking a lane on southbound I-5 at Northeast 130th. You're backed up to Northeast 125th. Travel time ever to Seattle still about 39 minutes, 8 longer than typical. And you're very slow on I-5 southbound near JBLM. Maybe people heading out of town for the holiday. Travel time Tacoma to Olympia, 65 minutes, about half an hour longer than usual. You're slow southbound on US 2 near the Fairgrounds in Monroe, and on State Route 18 from about the Tiger Mountain Summit up to I-90. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunshine with highs in the mid-80s. It's 78 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
All right, welcome back to the show. As always, anytime I get a chance to get this guy on the show, the text line just blows up. People love him. They can't get enough of him. Chris Sullivan, Sully as we know him around here. Welcome to the show.
That's good to be here, Jake.
It is the week of 4th of July.
Yep.
Everybody's getting excited to celebrate. People are already trying to make their barbecue plans. A lot of people travel on this holiday.
A lot of people are already leaving today. In fact, earlier today we were seeing, and probably still are now, people backed up on southbound 5 heading down towards the coast. I mean, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit more tomorrow. The coast is going to get inundated with thousands and thousands of people. And, you know, with it being on a Friday, a lot of people are expected to drive and to be out and about. So, yeah, it's going to be a pretty expensive holiday in this state if you are traveling by car. Not every other state, but in this state.
All right, so that's what I want to talk about with you for a second. So I was reading, we did a story on the show maybe like a week ago. We maybe even talked to you about it. But in 49 of the 50 states, gas prices have hit a 4-year low.
Yep.
Gas prices down everywhere.
Yep.
But almost like some bit of dark magic in Washington state. For whatever reason here, gas prices have gone up. Now,
I can explain why they've gone up.
Can you just please explain
that? And again, these numbers are the latest today from AAA.
Yes.
Nationwide average, gallon of gas, $3.19. Nationwide average. Washington's average, $4.43, almost $1.25 higher than the rest of the country. And you might go, well, if you're Jay Inslee, you would say it's those evil oil corporations who are just profiting and gouging people here.
That's exactly what he would say.
Because he said that all the time since he passed the Climate Commitment Act or pushed it forward.
He'd say those
to the detriment of our society.
Oil companies.
Yeah, which is funny because the gouging ends at our border. Let's take a look at the
Yeah, what are they doing over Idaho?
Idaho's average, $3.42. Let's look at Oregon's average, $4.05. They all get their gas from the same places we do.
So here's an interesting thing. I saw a report last week trying to explain away why gas prices in Washington state are so high. And it was saying because we get our gas at such and such a refinery or various versions of whatever refineries, by the time it makes it to us, because they've had backups and because
you mean the refineries in our state, in Anacortes?
I guess.
That are right there and in our state.
That's the one they're talking about.
Yeah, basically a lot of the oil for all of the western states comes from the same place. So that's not exactly a legitimate argument either. And then you look at what's the only real difference, and we can go, and we'll go through these in a minute, but the Climate Commitment Act accounts for, at least according to the latest results from the climate auctions, which were way higher than analysts expected, is 40 cents or more per gallon for the Climate Commitment Act, for which there has been next to nothing done for the climate. They have built one project, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got their first little charging station in Arlington. Was active last month.
Like 1,000 of them? How many?
No. I mean, it's a one charge. There are a couple of them involved, but at this one charging station in Arlington. One project has been done for the billions of dollars that they have gotten from the Climate Commitment Act. So, I mean, it's pretty clear. But then some of the other issues, let's be honest. Why are we talking about this today? Well, because our state gas tax is going up 6 cents a gallon tomorrow. The legislature made that decision. And we already have one of the highest state gas taxes because that's what they use to fund our roads, even though it doesn't do what it has done because our cars are more fuel efficient. So our gas tax is going to go from 49.4 cents a gallon to 55.4 cents a gallon tomorrow. Let's look at the gas tax in Oregon. Only 40 cents a gallon. So tomorrow, that's a full 15.5 cents almost. Now, it's going to be going up by 8 cents a gallon next year. Their legislature has started ramping that up. Idaho's gas tax, the state portion, 33 cents a gallon. So that is going to be 22 cents less than ours as of tomorrow. So our taxes are structured differently, but the CCA definitely has a huge impact.
And when you factor in little numbers, like when somebody says, oh, it's only going up 6 cents a gallon, but when you add all those little 6 cents and 22 cents and all these things up together,
right,
it starts to have a real impact. And then you look at, like you were saying at the start of the segment, on average, we're $1.24
higher than the national average.
National average. Every single gallon that you fill up in your car for the rest of time that you live in Washington State, you're going to be paying more. And the thing that really sucks about that is it really does affect people who don't have a ton of money more. I mean, like somebody who's very wealthy, they're not really going to care too much about an extra buck a gallon.
Nope.
But for people who are like scrimping and saving and trying to make their budgets work, even when it doesn't seem to make sense, $1.24 extra gallon is an insane amount of money.
And if you consider it, the lower income parts of our community are already hit harder. And then you add this, it's more than the price at the pump because they have to fill up more often.
Sure.
Because the folks on the lower side of the economy usually have less efficient cars too. So they don't get as many miles to the gallon, so they have to fill up more often.
Because they're not driving Teslas and Rivians.
Correct.
Yeah.
They can't afford a newer car. They're making do with what they have, so they get less gas mileage, which means they're paying more at the pump more often than people who have better cars. So it's an incredibly bad way to tax the lowest of the, but something's got to be done to pay for our roads because the legislature has punted on that for 40 years by their own decisions to not fund maintenance and preservation. They have plenty of ways to do it other than raising our gas tax, but that's what they're doing.
I have no problem with, we got to pay for roads.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, totally.
Infrastructure, it's got to happen. But the whole CCA thing,
it's silly.
Can they just punt it? Can they just say, hey, guys, like this is obviously not working, and we're not actually delivering on the things that we promised we deliver on, and it was kind of all for one person's vanity anyway, and he's not in office anymore, so why don't we just send this thing down the road?
Well, now we also have the precedent of a statewide vote that upheld it. Even though the way that ballot title was written was incredibly confusing, and a lot of people may have missed that, but the vote was they voted down the initiative that would have overturned it. Yeah, so there's also that in addition to the legislature. What it would take.
Enjoy your high gas prices.
Next to an act of God would be a Republican legislature and governor. Again, act of God in this state to overturn that. But no, it's going to be with us. I mean, sure, it's great. We want to reduce pollution, fabulous. But to say we're changing the climate is just is silly.
Yeah,
we're just taking money from one set of people and giving it to another to make people feel good.
And again, if they were actually doing something that
again, they built one charging station.
They built one charging station, and then when you look at, I forget when it was, maybe like 2 months ago, whenever it was, but the percentage of money that they draw in from the CCA that's actually being spent on climate-related things is like, wasn't it less than 10%?
It's something like, yeah. It's like it doesn't go to what it's supposed to do.
If this were a charitable endeavor, if you were donating money something to a good cause, which is what this was sold as, and you found that the place where you were giving your money was only giving less than 10%, you'd say, I probably wouldn't make a lot of donations there in the future, but whatever. They're not asking for it. They're just taking your money. I saw this article earlier that I thought was kind of funny. I think it was Como, but they were asking, hey, with gas prices going so crazy because of summertime and 4th of July travel, is it going to change your travel plans at all? And I'm thinking in my head, yeah, I'm going to get out of Washington as fast as possible when I travel because everywhere else you go, it's so much better. Like you cross that line into Idaho and it's just...
It's like $1 cheaper. And I remember we had Governor Inslee, former Governor Inslee, on Seattle's Morning News, and I was like, no, sorry, Governor. When I drove into Idaho last weekend to watch my son play football in Montana, it was $1 different. He's like, oh, I don't think it was $1. I go, I paid it. I was there. I just went to Montana to bring Tommy back.
Sure.
Go across the border into Idaho. We were paying $3.35 2 weeks ago. In Montana, $3.11.
Yeah.
I mean, those evil oil companies must hate making profit because they aren't gouging in Idaho or Montana. So, I mean, it just, you have to suspend disbelief.
They are bad at price gouging, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're
for companies that make billions and billions of profit every year. They're leaving so much on the table. So it's just, I mean, I get it. We all want, whatever. But I'm pretty sure the temperature hasn't gone up or down dependent on anything that the CCA has done in our small, little minuscule part of the entire universe.
They got one charging station built, so I guess now the second one's on the way. Chris, thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate you making the time.
Anytime.
All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around. Be right back.
Pacific Northwest community searching for answers.
Tragedy in northern Idaho.
Unbelievable. You just don't expect somebody to do that to a firefighter.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is there.
Those firefighters, they arrived here to put out a fire started by the suspect. They had no idea where those bullets were coming from.
Stay with KIRO News Radio for the latest from the local voices you trust.
Attacks on first responders is sick.
KIRO News Radio on 97.3 FM and the KIRO News Radio app.
Hey, Spike O'Neill here with Dr. Matthew Sharp, owner of Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens. Dr. Sharp, I keep getting questions from our listeners. When's the right time to have this procedure? My eyes are changing. Should I wait until they're done changing?
Well, I always tell patients, do it now. Don't wait. Whatever age you are, and that's part of the mission of Sharp Vision, is that whatever age you are, whatever prescription you have, we try to find a procedure that works for you. When you're young, LASIK and PRK are great procedures. As we get older, the refractive lens exchange becomes more appealing because that can fix whatever glasses prescription, whether you're farsighted, nearsighted, or have astigmatism, and it fixes it permanently so you don't develop cataracts, and it allows you to see near without glasses.
Do what I did. Schedule a consultation to learn everything you need to know from the best Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens. 425-451-2020 or go online to sharp-vision.com. That's sharp with an E-vision.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
It started as a puddle.
Where?
In the shower.
Uh-oh.
Then the kitchen sink.
Started backing up?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Clogged up.
Right. No problem.
Beg your pardon?
There's no clog we can't clear.
You're Dan.
From Apollo Plumbing.
This is going to get pricey.
How about $83?
To clear my drain?
Apollo Plumbing clears main drains every day.
For $83?
$83 or it's free.
What's the catch?
No catch. We'll even do a camera inspection.
Why's that?
It's the best way to find the cause of your clog.
And it's included?
No extra charge. Truth is, we hate clogs.
I don't love them.
Seen them all.
Ew.
I promise, there's no clog Apollo can't clear.
Guaranteed.
83 or free.
Goodbye, slow drains.
All it takes is an accessible clean out.
And Apollo gets my drains draining again.
You call, we come, it's fixed.
My heroes.
Just doing our job.
Thank you, Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Hi, it's John Curley. I've been a patient of Longevity Medical Clinic since 2009, and Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. You know what's amazing, Doctor? The feelings that you have after just a couple of months. You sleep better. Your strength and vitality, it is evident that it works. It's really a mindset, though, Dr. Mixon, because a lot of people, this is what's supposed to happen.
Let us help you be stronger, faster, leaner, smarter, sexier, but most important, happier. I'm less impressed by how many years I might live, but how much I live during my years. The option is here. Nobody's going to make you go to longevity. But the opportunity is there, and all you have to do is take advantage of it. I don't know why anybody would not want to do what we do.
And that's where Longevity Medical Clinic comes in. So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission. Free delivery. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Tired of sitting on your suitcase? 2 words. Packing cubes. Sometimes a different way is the better way. Like the SR 509 Expressway, an alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads. Now open and free through summer.
4,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Washington state. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda with Northwest Hope and Healing. We provide a lifeline to breast and gynecologic cancer patients. Join us at Life in Color, a brunch auction and fashion show on August 17th at the Columbia Collective in Woodinville for an unforgettable afternoon celebrating 25 years of hope and support. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 17th at nwhopeandhealing.org. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Welcome back to the show. All right, if you guys are not already enjoying the show, live streaming, if you're not watching our smiling faces, you're going to miss out because we're about to show you an adorable little doggy if you're interested in dogs. This is a crazy story. Listen to this. I'm going to give you some details, and if you feel like you're in the market for a used dog, then get yourself down to Tacoma because there is a shelter there with a lot of, and I say used as a joke, they're adorable rescue dogs. But they're multi-poos, which I'll tell you about in a second. What is a multi-poo? I'll tell you about it. But Pierce County Sheriff's Office, Como News had the story originally, but I think it's everywhere now. Animal control officers in Pierce County Sheriff's Office were called to a barking complaint. This is in Bonnie Lake. And they found in the house filled with dogs, like a lot of dogs, tons and tons of dogs, multi-poos. And so they talked to the homeowner, and the homeowner said to the Pierce County Sheriff's officers who were checking out the scene, she said, yeah, there's a lot of dogs here, and I don't know what to do with them, and I need your help. So dozens of the dogs were taken from the home, and they're now in foster care at the Humane Society of Tacoma and Pierce County. And this is the interesting part. This is a quote from the story here. On June 25th, animal control officers were approved for a warrant to remove the dogs. But to their surprise, the owner relinquished all the dogs with no problems and no warrant was needed. The owner was thankful that animal control was taking the dogs, which is really nice because if you're in the market for a foster pet or a rescue animal that you're going to adopt, it is kind of nice knowing that the person who had them originally wasn't doing horrible things. They just were like overwhelmed. You don't want to think that the dog was beaten or anything like that. It sounds like this was just a case where somebody just probably loved multi-poos too much and got in over their head.
And who wouldn't love this little face?
Let's post a picture of this for anybody who's enjoying the show. Also, oh, good golly. Look at that thing. Adorable.
I mean, its eyes just say, save me.
It does.
Take me home.
Look at that. That must be before, that looks like it maybe needs a wash. It's an adorable little dog. We've been thinking about getting a dog in my family. Again, we have 4 little kids, and so it's tricky to figure out. There's so many factors that go into getting a dog or to get a pet. You have to figure out, one, are you willing to put in the time? Who's going to clean up after the animal, which is always a problem. How old were you when you first got a pet?
I was 12 when I finally won the war of begging my parents to let me get a cat.
Begging.
Oh, for years. Like probably since I could speak.
Did they make you prove that you could do it by pretending with a stuffed animal and all that
I
stuff?
said everything you would ever say to your parents. I will scoop all the litter. I will feed them every single day.
Which I'm sure you did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I was the best. that was never an argument in our household. That never happened.
How many cats did you end up having?
2, because we went to Paws. I think there isn't a Paws location in Greenwood anymore, but that's the one we went to when I was a kid. And they convinced us that if we were getting kittens, you need to get 2 together.
They're social.
And they matched. Like they were brothers from the same litter.
That's adorable.
Yeah, they were so cute.
What were their names?
Cookie and Shine.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Would you adopt one of these multi-poos if you had the room for it? You already have cats.
Absolutely. Although I think my current cat would get along better with a dog than she ever would with another cat.
Because,
just her personality.
She's territorial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. We had some rescue animals growing up. We adopted a little puppy who ended up growing into a very giant dog, but he was raised we had an older cat, and she kind of took him under her wing, just like your cat might.
Wait, that's so cute. That's like a Instagram.
It was adorable.
Yeah.
And so when he would go out and hunt in the woods, he would like creep up to things like a cat, and he would pounce like a cat. Only he was
amazing.
Yeah, only he was probably like 120 pounds, so he was a massive dog, and he would pounce, and then he became really adept at killing. We had to actually like take him to a farm. Not like take to a farm and like get rid of him. Like actually
a farm upstate. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we actually had to find another home for him because he was effectively killing our neighbor's rabbits. And so, yeah, it was bad. But these multi-poos, I don't think that's going to be a problem. These dogs are adorable. They're tiny. I looked it up, what a multi-poo is, in case you were wondering, because I was. It's a mix between a Maltese and a poodle. They're small. They typically weigh between 5 and 20 pounds, which is nice. Hypoallergenic, if you're a person who suffers from allergies, which is also great. They have different colors and textures of their fur. Everyone that I'm seeing, though, looks like they're kind of cream colored or white in these pictures, but I'm sure there's you should get down there and check it out, because if you're interested, you need to actually go to the shelter, and you got to apply in person. And it's a first come, first served basis. They have a couple dozen that are still available. One of the things that we have to figure out, because I sent this to my wife, this story earlier, and I was like, isn't this kind of the dog you wanted? Because it's adorable. It looks like one of those little boo dogs, you know?
It looks like a stuffed animal.
It looks like a stuffed animal.
I mean, my goodness.
But I was telling my wife, I was like, is this what you wanted? And she I don't think we're going to get one unless she changes her mind quickly. They're going to go fast. But if you have kids, you got to figure out like how old the dog is and when is it going to, you got to factor in like when's it going to die? Because you don't want your kids to be young when that happens.
No,
you can avoid it.
like at least high school.
Yeah. So I was surprised. These live quite a long time, 12 to 15 years. It's in some cases more than 17 years, which is amazing.
17 years.
Tiny dogs live longer, so you got a good chance. But you never know. You are getting it used.
How old is your youngest?
He's 1 year old.
Okay, that's easy
Or
math.
He's 1 year old, yeah. So that's a pretty easy math. All right. If you want one of these dogs, go to the the Humane Society of Tacoma and Pierce County and apply for one. They're going fast. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Jason Rantz next. Stick around.
There are 5 things money can do for you: growth, liquidity, cash flow, protection, and tax advantages. Don't miss an opportunity because your current retirement plan only focuses on 2 or 3 of them. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Don't settle for a partial plan. Get the real deal by requesting your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
This is Jonathan Dichter from DUI Heroes, reminding you to have a safe and happy Independence Day. Please celebrate responsibly and drive safely. A message from your friends at DUIHeroes.com.
G. Scott here to remind everyone to have a safe Independence Day. DUI patrols are in effect and DUI rates are higher around the holidays. If you're pulled over for DUI, contact DUI Heroes immediately at 1-800-DUI-HERO, your DUI defense specialist.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Hold up a sec. If I work today, why should I have to wait 2 weeks to get my money? With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Join in on the conversation by sending a text to 888-973-5476. That's 888-973-KIRO.
An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Now that summer is here, our family's gearing up for some big road trips in our Subaru Outback. We bought our Outback from Carter Subaru, where your drive always begins with savings. And right now, you can get the 2025 Crosstrek with 2.9% APR for 48 months. Shop with the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at Carter Subaru's Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 6/30/25.
Give your liver the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to NORDICUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump will travel tomorrow to a proposed ICE detention center in a remote area of Florida. Christopher Cruz reports.
The compound is being called Alligator Alcatraz. It's being built on a remote, unused airstrip in the swamplands of the Florida Everglades, an area surrounded by wetlands teeming with alligators and Burmese pythons. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
When you have illegal murderers and rapists and heinous criminals in a detention facility surrounded by alligators, yes, I do think that's a deterrent for them to try to escape.
Christopher Cruz, CBS News, Washington.
The White House is keeping up the pressure on Republican lawmakers to push through the president's tax and spending bill.
The White House and the president are adamant that this bill is passed and that this bill makes its way to his desk.
Senators are considering proposed amendments today, as Stacey Lynn reports.
Senate will come to order.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the mission today.
Senate Republicans have to decide. Choose the American people or bow down to Donald Trump and his coterie of billionaires.
But Majority Leader John Thune says it's time to get this done.
So this country is safer and stronger and more prosperous.
A vote-a-rama is going on now, where lawmakers are offering up changes to the bill before a final vote. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
The Supreme Court will take up a Republican-led drive to wipe away limits on how much political parties can spend in coordination with candidates for Congress and president. Legal analyst Laurie Levinson.
The Supreme Court, as of late, has given broad power under the First Amendment and otherwise to individuals, corporations, and maybe this time political parties in making such donations.
The Justice Department has announced what it's calling the largest healthcare fraud takedown in history. The FBI's Christopher Delgado.
Over $14 billion in alleged fraud was billed to Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurance programs.
Dozens of people were killed in Gaza today, many trying to get to a food aid site. Israeli officials are expected to meet with President Trump in the coming days. He has been urging Israel to make a deal and end the war. Reporter Linda Gradstein is in Jerusalem.
The vast majority of the public and certainly the families of the hostages, there are still 50 hostages in Gaza. 20 of them are believed to still be alive. And the sense is that time is running out for them and that the only way that they're going to get home is through a ceasefire deal, not through military pressure.
Stocks finished higher today. The S&P 500 rose to another record high. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Authorities identify the gunman they say shot at firefighters in northern Idaho. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, in Federal Way, the disabled vehicle's been cleared from southbound I-5. You still have a backup to State Route 18. In the Northgate area, a crash is blocking a lane on southbound I-5 at Northeast 130th Street. You're backed up to Northeast 125th. Travel time Everett to Seattle, 37 minutes. That's about 5 longer than usual. And you're slow on I-5 southbound near JBLM. Your drive from Tacoma to Olympia is still about half a mile longer than usual at 70 minutes. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch.
Law enforcement, right now there's an active shooter zone. Everybody shot up here.
Authorities have identified the gunman accused of killing 2 firefighters who responded to a wildfire in northern Idaho.
The Associated Press is reporting the shooter is a 20-year-old, Wes Rowley, who started the fire, then ambushed 2 firefighters. One dad, Peter Peticolis, was FaceTiming with his son and heard the shootout between the SWAT team here and that lone gunman in the background.
I could hear the gunfire, and he was saying, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one.
Yesterday, this was a town terrified. Today, they're mourning the loss of those 2 firefighters killed. In Coeur d'Alene, Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Pierce County deputies arrested a 45-year-old man suspected of throwing an M80 firecracker onto the porch of a home. It happened Saturday near Tacoma. No one injured, but the home sustained some pretty bad damage. Not guilty pleas today for the man accused of breaking into star athletes' homes.
A judge laying out the charges against 21-year-old Earl Riley IV, unlawful possession of a firearm, eluding police, robbery, and 4 burglary counts. To all, he pleaded not guilty Monday. Prosecutors call him the ringleader in a string of home break-ins, targeting former Seahawk Richard Sherman, Mariner Julio Rodriguez, and other pro athletes at their King County homes. He returns to court in mid-July. Gwen Baumgartner, KIRO News Radio.
Seattle turned up the volume over the weekend as an estimated 250,000 people flooded downtown for the city's 51st Pride Parade. With the theme Louder, the celebration was a call for unity, visibility, and joy. Grand Marshal and Congresswoman Emily Randall telling KIRO 7 TV.
It means speak your truth, speak your peace, and speak up. That's what it means to be loud. Do not hold it in. Be loud. All the time.
Randall says it's important to fight for those who feel they are not safe to be out. Passengers taking the Fauntleroy-Vashon Southward Ferry, you have more sailing options this summer. A 3rd vessel returns full-time to the Triangle route today for the first time since October of 2021. WashDOT says it is one of the busiest routes with 2.2 million riders in 2023. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunshine today with highs in the mid-80s. It's 79 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio.
Welcome back to the show. 1 hour down. That was fast. Really fast. Time flies when you're having fun. Jake Skorheim here. Spike O'Neill is out with a little cough, I believe, but he will be back. Who in the heck is that? Spike will be back soon. Thankfully, Jason's in here coughing on his behalf.
Oh,
Jason
hello.
Rance, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
From 770 KTTH, sister station, author of What's Killing America, often cable news, TV, guest. here with a great story. You guys should check this out. This is on My Northwest. You can also find it at ktth.com. There is a local, this is in Washington State. This was kind of interesting. The Washington State Office of Financial Management, or the OFM, if you're a government type, spent $31,000 on, what kind of training is this? And was it required that people attend this? What is this, Jason?
So it was called the DEI Empowerment Conference. It was held across 4 days in June. It was not mandatory. It was a voluntary DE&I conference in which they held such sessions as Disrupting Perfectionism, a Tool for Liberation, or DEI in an Age of Backlash. And it essentially was promoting pretty far left views on DEI. In one case, how to defend DEI. In other cases, why perfectionism as a concept is an example of white supremacy culture. And so whereas...
This is taught by the state of Washington?
It's taught by... Well, it's put on by the state of Washington. It's not just Washington employees who are responsible. They worked with
but they paid
consultants to come in, a number of different consultants, doing different sessions over the course of the 4 days.
Which was how much money again?
$31,000.
30
taxpayer dollars going to this.
Can you imagine? Like, just think about this for a second. I've been told recently the Washington State's kind of in a tricky situation financially, right? Aren't we like $16 billion?
I mean, we've had to close down a hospital or facility for children impacted by their drug-addicted mothers.
But they have money to spend on a 4-day thing about how, what is it again? Is perfectionism is white supremacy?
Yeah.
Why would they do this? $31,000. Like, who's approving these things?
I mean, they do this happily, right? I mean, it's interesting because in the greater context, nationally, you're seeing a lot of pushback against some of the DEI stuff from various states and corporations.
We actually have the perfectionism cut. Should we play this? Oh, if my audio was on, that's my fault. Sorry about that.
That would help.
That was my fault.
I always say perfectionism can be a little bit insidious because it sounds good, but oftentimes there's other things attached to it that speaks to like a larger issue.
This is the
I like how she starts off by saying, I like to say all the time. Why do you say this all the time? How does this come up in your everyday conversations? What do you mean you say this all the time?
Well, she's just having
what are you talking about?
I say this all the time.
Oh, yeah. Hey, let's talk. Would you just bring up perfectionism? Actually, it's white supremacy culture in action, which is clip number 2.
It's, again, more insidious than that because it's rooted in white supremacy culture, capitalism. It's rooted in anti-Blackness and colonialism, and it's rooted in the legacy of slavery and exploitation, right? Like during
I do have to pause it real fast.
Right.
And just say,
isn't it?
4 days of listening to somebody speak like this. What do they call this kind of language?
It's like the vocal fry.
Upspeak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're offended by that.
Message aside, it'd be tough if everything that you were saying
being
told
it?
was colonialism.
It's kind of hard to figure out whether or not there's a question that's being asked.
Black people were punished for perceived mistakes or imperfections. And then that's deeply rooted in how Black professionals and community members are often scrutinized more heavily, even today.
So what's this one on education? She's also talking about this messaging in education.
So this is a separate one. This is by a guy named Dr. J.P. Anderson. And he was going over the backlash against DEI over the last year, obviously more on the conservative side of things. People have spoken up and pushed back. And so he was explaining.
By the way, quick side note, it's not just folks on the conservative side. We've also seen almost every industry which had adopted this stuff, I think because they thought it was part of like a good outreach publicly to adopt it in their culture, inside their businesses, have taken steps to say, hey, you know what, maybe we overshot a little bit.
Well, and that's what this seminar was really about, is trying to push back against the pushback and create a better environment for DEI. And he was explaining how the messaging from conservatives is being rejected by himself as a consultant because he's so much smarter than everybody else. And then he started to read, and this is an edited clip because just for time, but he asked folks in the Zoom conference, hey, explain why this doesn't work on you when conservatives push back against DEI.
So what is it about you specifically that makes you sort of immune to this strategy. Okay, so Sarah Crone says, hey, I have empathy for others. Okay, yeah. Education, empathy, humanity, seeing a lot.
What do you say? Education, empathy, and humanity.
Yeah, we don't have that if we're against DEI.
Well, this is great. Keep it coming. Education, 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 education.
Is he stuttering or what's happening?
No, he's just reading all these comments from people in the chat. They're just so much smarter than everybody else.
Coming up a lot. Education, empathy, right? A willingness to see other people as human beings. I think education is one that really stands out to me. Critical thinking, again, practiced. A marginalized identity. This message isn't going to resonate with you because you know what it's like to be on the margins. I think education has come up so much. That's the one I'm going to pay attention to for a moment.
Listen to this.
I'm the recipient of a higher education. I have a privilege. I was asked for years of my life to think deeply and calmly about politics. And so when I see these messages, I see them right away. I say, there we go. Oh, that's good opinion research. In fact, I even come at it as a kind of a professional. That's good opinion research. That's a good message. I see where that lands. But the reason why it's not going to land with me is because of my education. And I didn't entirely choose to become an educated person. I'm a recipient. That's a privilege.
What does that even mean?
Is he saying it was forced upon
you? I don't know.
That I have, right? I remind myself of that to not get caught up in contempt and judgment for the people who do resonate with this message. Because I don't think that gets us where we want to go.
He's saying
the elitism and
saying for the idiots,
condescension. It's so condescending.
The uneducated is what he's saying.
Yeah, he's just, you guys are just not smart enough. But I feel pity for you. I don't feel scorn for the uneducated. It's not their fault. They're such dum-dums.
These simpletons who just can't grasp these concepts. I got to say, $31,000. I'm doing the math in my head. That's pretty good for 4 days' work. That's slightly more than I make here. It's not quite as much as you make, but $31,000 for less than a week's worth is pretty great. And how many of these conferences are they doing yearly?
Well, I mean, this is an annual conference, but it's not the only training that they go through.
But the people who are the consultants that they're bringing in for
they
these
probably
things?
do it pretty frequently. They probably get in front of a bunch of corporations and they push this nonsense on them, and they probably make really good money. They're not making as much money in this case working for the state just for one-off sessions, since there were a number of them doing it. But you know how some of these go. They go a full 4 days, just one consultant pushing this kind of stuff on folks. And
Zoom
of course,
meetings, people checking in for Zoom meetings. Who knows if they're even paying attention to them, but they sign in and then
I'll tell you who was paying attention. This guy here, because I watched so many videos.
Did you watch it?
I watched both of these were like 90 minutes each.
Let me ask you a question.
Videos, by the way, available at mynorthwest.com.
You're a fairly well-educated guy. Could you grasp these concepts purely because of your education? Could you see how maybe somebody who's not so educated doesn't grasp these concepts?
It's hard for me to understand this as a person of privilege because I went to college. It was given to me.
Was it forced upon you like that guy? It was forced
upon me, this liberal arts degree that both myself and Laura have from the same alma mater.
You guys went to the same school?
We did. We're both Oxy Tigers.
No, you didn't.
And Occidental College in Southern California.
To be
with
clear.
Obama.
I know. I graduated after she did.
Did you guys were you guys there when Obama was there? Slightly after, probably.
Obama was there for a semester and a half. And they make such a big deal of him going there.
The joke is if he can become president with only like a year of an Oxy degree, imagine what you could do.
I don't even think he did a whole year. That's the funny part. I think he was there for like one semester before he went to Columbia.
Have you seen the Obama tour on campus? That's literally just a campus tour. The library where he probably studied. The dining hall where he may have eaten.
Where he may have done his drugs.
It's so ridiculous.
Didn't he talk about doing coke there?
I don't know if it was coke, but it was drugs.
It was weed.
Oh, it was weed.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. California.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to know who went to my college? Because you guys both went to a fancy college. I went to just a regular university. Bette Midler was the famous person who went to University of Hawaii. Yeah, so Bette Midler is from where I went.
I would brag about that nonstop.
And I do. I try to bring it up.
You won't shut up about it.
Every single conversation. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking recently about Bette Midler? Because I went to college at the same place as she went to 100 years before I did. All right, Jason, did you see the story? Can we move on to some 4th of July stuff? 4th of July is upcoming. A lot of people are excited about it. I'm very excited about it. Fireworks are a big deal in my family. The city of SeaTac has announced that they have canceled their fireworks display. Did you hear about this?
Mm-hmm.
You can read about it at mynorthwest.com. Last year, they actually did a drone show. They didn't even have fireworks last year at Angle Lake at the SeaTax 4th of July festival. They instead did a drone show, which ended disastrously, which I'm sure you might remember. 55
very
drones.
Embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. They fell into the lake. They fell into Angle Lake, which was kind of funny.
It was hysterical. Like, the video was very funny.
No, it's very funny.
Yes.
They're just like, suddenly they just go dropping into the water. Thankfully, the money that the city paid the firework company, which I believe was named, what was the name of this firework company? Great Lakes Drone Company. That's ironic. Great Lakes Drone
Our
Company.
drones will end up in your lake.
Yeah.
Great.
Did they name it after the mishap? So they reportedly actually gave the $40,000 that the city spent on the drone show back to the city because obviously the drones got all wet. But it did lead me to ask, $40,000 for a drone show? Good golly. How much are those drones?
Well, how much is the work that goes into it? And you just
program
it in.
But once it's done, it's done.
Yeah,
as long as they stay in the air, which they don't always.
Like a very high amount to spend on this. That said, I like the idea of drones. I like it a little bit better. Well, actually, I like it a lot more than fireworks, which are boring after 17 seconds because you see the same thing happen over and over and again.
I will passionately argue
a different
against
color of an explosion.
Oh,
at
what is
least
that, a
drones.
drone?
Yeah, well,
Underwater?
drones can get
Amazing.
into different shapes when they're properly done.
I will give you this on drones. They are getting better and better. I've been watching them. They can now they can make shapes and they can actually make like animated characters.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's pretty cool. But it doesn't have the concussive feel of a firework. The bombs bursting in air. That's what 4th of July is about. And that's what I want. I want to smell the sulfur, right? Or whatever it is in fireworks. Could they actually put that out in a smell? Is it possible they just have like some sort of a aerosol spray that they run through the crowd with that makes it smell like fireworks?
Doesn't seem especially healthy, but I'm sure they can.
It's not super healthy, but whatever. You can't be perfectly healthy all the time.
But
I'm just trying to create the sense of like being around fireworks.
The reason they canceled this, however, has nothing to do with the failure of the drone show, which I thought was rather amusing.
It was amusing. The reason they canceled is because they said there was too many people who came. Last year they had actually just the park's capacity where they held this was 3,200 people. 10,000 people showed up.
I don't buy it. This is one of those. I was just so popular. I was too popular.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, relax. Well, that cannot have been the reason why. There had to have been something else beyond that. It's just a weird way to say that you're canceling something.
I think they don't have the money.
Right, either that or there's some, concern that if they were to do it again 2 years in a row of an embarrassing moment, might be a little bit too much for SeaTac, which is a brand of a city. I mean, it's up there, man. Everyone talks about how amazing SeaTac is.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it. The thing about the fireworks show, or the lack thereof in SeaTac, I do think it's about lack of money. They also said they do want to do something eventually. They're not going to do anything this year, so they got kind of caught with their pants down, I guess, this year. I don't know why they didn't plan ahead for this. They knew it was coming. Every single year there's a 4th of July. But here's what they said in their statement. The city wrote, "It's not goodbye, it's a reset." And here's the next part that I thought that you would get a kick out of. It says, "We're using this time to reimagine how we celebrate. Something safer, more inclusive, and more fitting for a growing SeaTac." Now my question to you is, what's more inclusive than fireworks? Nothing.
Oh, no. Oh, see, here's the argument that generally folks who use that kind of language will make. I find it to be very disingenuous. They say we are here to protect people who live with PTSD.
Or
our
dogs,
veterans.
people who have
they
animals.
Say that, then they say the animal part. They throw all of that out there when the reality is the people who complain about the PTSD argument, which is a valid argument to a point, I suppose, but they really are just like anti-war, and they say that this glorifies war. Have you not heard that before?
Oh, I've heard it.
It's just so silly. Just say we don't have money right now. We don't want to spend it at least on something like this. There are other options out there that you can enjoy. This year we're going to save the money, but next year we're going to be back at it and even better. You don't have to throw in inclusive language. It doesn't mean anything. It is a term that simply says, hey, give us some social currency because we're one of you guys.
This felt like kind of a tie-in with your DEI story we had just a second ago. That's why I brought it up. But in SeaTac, if you're looking for a fireworks show, you're not going to find it at SeaTac. Not even a drone show, which feels like a distant second place, but they're not even doing that. Like they could do something small, right? Like go up to Boom City.
Well, there's only 10,000 people showed up. It couldn't only fit. Okay, well then don't let 7,000 more show up.
Well,
go into the space than
here's
before.
The thing. Obviously, if 10,000, let's take them at their word, and 10,000 people did show up to a 3,000 person event. There's a fervor for some public celebration for 4th of July. Come up with something. Don't just say, hey, you know what we're going to do? Nothing to be more inclusive. To be more inclusive, we're going to do nothing.
Reimagine how to sell. You don't need to reimagine anything.
It. Bombs bursting in air. That's what you got to do. Just blow up something. It'll make people happy. Everybody goes, whoa, that's awesome. And then go home and try to get their kids to sleep and clean up the pee in their house because their dogs have messed up everything because of the fireworks. Last thing, real fast. Did you see this? Washington State. Did you see a cell phone tax in Washington State? You know how much we pay in taxes on cell phones?
How much?
Very high. 21.
You cannot set me up to tell you how much and then you not know the answer.
No, I'm looking at it right here. 21.6% of the money that you pay for your phone goes directly into Washington State taxes. Did you know that? In Idaho, it's 3%. But in Washington State, it's 21%.
Everything's more expensive in Washington State.
Washington's combined state and local wireless tax rate is 21.6%. Significant. The national average, Idaho's especially low. I'll give you that, 3%. The national average is 10.8%.
Yeah, but see, do we have an inclusive tax?
That's not clear in this language.
You're not thinking things through.
I'm not thinking it through.
That's why it's so much more expensive. They got to be inclusive.
Because it's inclusive. Mm-hmm. Sure. Which means they must have good coverage everywhere. Is that how inclusivity works with cell phones?
No.
Oh, it's not.
It does. It means your cell phone coverage is going to be worse.
Oh, mine is worse
because of your privilege.
And then somebody else's gets to be better for less.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, that's Jason Rantz. You can catch him over on the Jason Rantz Show on 770 KTTH. Also, he's pretty much everything on the website. He always has a very popular story, so go check him out on mynorthwest.com. Thanks for coming in, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, this is really fun. I'm excited about this next guest. They have unveiled a new statue to honor a Seattle Supersonics legend. And Matt Pittman, who I worked with at the Sonics years ago when I was in the NBA as a ball boy, is going to join us to talk about it. And we're also going to imagine some other statues of former Sonics legends that they may not be making anytime soon, which should be fun. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest,
a Pacific Northwest community searching for answers.
Tragedy in northern Idaho.
Unbelievable. You just don't expect somebody to do that to a firefighter.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey is there.
Those firefighters, they arrived here to put out a fire started by the suspect. They had no idea where those bullets were coming from.
Stay with KIRO News Radio for the latest from the local voices you trust.
Attacks on first responders is sick.
KIRO News Radio on 97.3 FM and the KIRO News Radio app.
Hi, it's John Curley. Longevity Medical Clinic is your best plan for long-term well-being and personalized health care. Dr. Mixon, let me ask you a question. How long have some of your patients been working with you?
And we've got patients now that have been with us for over 20 years that are in their 90s who came to us in their 60s. The grandparents now in their 90s are living independently. They're not on walkers. They're not on canes. They're not headed for nursing homes.
I meet people and they ask about, wow, you're in great shape. You have 12% body fat and stuff. What's the secret? I said, it's not a secret. Longevity Medical Clinic has been there for 25 years. There is no secret to the fact that if you make those small changes, you avoid the big, bad, horrible stuff that most of us just think, well, this is what's supposed to happen to me.
And if you're heading downhill and you don't change your direction, you're going to continue going downhill. And what we do at Longevity is we redirect you and we take you back up the hill.
So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally draining, but it can also be a financial hardship. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients. We cover essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. This year, we are proud to celebrate 25 years of Northwest Hope and Healing. Since the year 2000, we have distributed over $2.8 million in direct financial assistance to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can help us make a difference. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 17th at the Columbia Collective in Woodinville. It's an unforgettable afternoon of unwavering hope and inspiration. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 17th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Every summer we drive to Lake Chelan in our Subaru Outback. That car has been great for our family adventures. We bought it at Carter Subaru, and they have what you've been searching for with over 300 new vehicles in stock, including the 2025 Forester, now with 3.9% financing for 48 months, or go electric with the 2025 Solterra EV, 0% APR for 72 months.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 6/30/25.
With over 20 new home communities throughout the Puget Sound area, D.R. Horton has the right home for you. Learn more at drhorton.com. That's drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Whatever temperatures this summer brings, your friendly and knowledgeable Bryant dealer is ready to help. Your dealer is committed to achieving a high level of training, and skills are backed by outstanding products from one of the industry's most trusted names, Bryant. So whether you need a quick fix or an entirely new cooling system, your local Bryant dealer will do whatever it takes for your family's comfort.
Schedule an appointment today. For a dealer near you, visit BryantNorthwest.com. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Looking for high-quality assisted living that won't drain your life savings? At Care Partners Living, we offer compassionate care at a price that helps stretch and preserve your estate. No unnecessary luxury, just the support you need with dignity and heart. And if you ever need to convert to Medicaid, you don't have to move. With communities across Washington and Arizona, including new locations in Port Orchard, Sumner, Linwood, and North Creek Bothell, there's a Care Partners community near you. Care Partners Living, compassionate care and peace of mind. Visit carepartnersliving.com.
An Aussie trucker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Tired of sitting on your suitcase? 2 words, packing cubes. Sometimes a different way is the better way. Like the SR 509 Expressway, an alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads. Now open and free through summer.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. A moment of silence on the U.S. Senate floor today for 2 firefighters killed in Coeur d'Alene. Idaho Senator Mike Crapo.
While business continues here, life for the North Idaho community of Coeur d'Alene remains at a very painful standstill as we mourn the horrific loss of 2 firefighters.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is in Coeur d'Alene with more on the shooting suspects.
Federal agents now at the scene where a lone gunman ambushed and killed 2 firefighters. The Associated Press says the suspect is 20-year-old Wes Rowley. He died after a shootout with a SWAT team. Fire crews are using 2 helicopters to put out that wildfire he started. The governor of Idaho is ordering flags fly at half staff across the state. In Coeur d'Alene, Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
A Seattle doctor is accused of stealing narcotics, including fentanyl, and using them while treating patients. The Department of Justice claims Andrew Vogel Potadera was an anesthesiology resident, took those drugs while working at Seattle Children's, Harborview, and UW Medical Center. This is one of 2 federal cases from Western Washington in what's being called the largest healthcare fraud takedown in U.S. history.
324 defendants were charged criminally, including 96 licensed medical professionals.
That's the FBI's Christopher Delgado. He says they uncovered $15 million in false claims. Now to the closing bell reports. Washington's gas tax is going up tomorrow. It is a 6-cent hike, bringing the total to 55.4 cents per gallon, the first increase in 9 years. Gas tax is the main source of revenue for the state's transportation system. Canada is back at the bargaining table with the Trump administration. CBS's Stacey Lynn reports that country is reversing course for a planned tax on American tech companies.
The digital services tax that was due to take effect today has now been scrapped, and talks between the two countries are back on. President Trump had suspended trade talks Friday, calling the levy a blatant attack. But 48 hours later, the Canadian government folded.
And stocks rallied on that news. The Dow gained 275, S&P up 31, the NASDAQ ahead by 96. Now to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, and we have cleared most of the incidents on the freeway right now, including I-5 southbound right there at SR 18. Starting to see that clear up nicely. Looking at some drive times for you. Linwood to Seattle taking you 37 minutes. Approaching 1 hour, though, from Tacoma to Olympia. Could be some people getting an early jump on the holiday weekend to the coast. Pretty thick right there through JBLM. Bellevue to Renton, about a 30-minute drive. 45 minutes from Renton to Puyallup, and about a 40 to 45-minute drive up into Everett from Seattle or Bellevue. Got those typical slowdowns right around Bothell and Canyon Park. Lake bridges are clear. Your forecast now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. All sunshine today. Highs in the mid-80s. Same for tomorrow. Right now looking at 79 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. We like to do little Sonics updates here every once in a while, getting geared up for when that team eventually comes back. We hope, fingers crossed, but we'll see. Might not happen, but who knows? All right. There was a unveiling of a new statue, which is very exciting. Sonics legend Lenny Wilkins became the first person honored outside of Climate Pledge Arena with a statue. He was speaking about it. It's pretty cool.
We're a better community when we're supportive of one another, when we help each other, when we take time to recognize one another.
He talked, Fox 13, I believe that's audio, and he wanted to highlight the younger generation.
Young people, I tell you, you're important. You mean something. So the young people are tomorrow's doctors, lawyers, politicians. They're our future. And when we're supportive of each other, we make our community better. So
he also wanted to thank the people who helped make his blessed life a success. Just a cool guy.
I have a great wife, a great family. They're very supportive of everything I do. And that has allowed me to do so much, to be able to go everywhere and speak to everybody.
All right, listen to these stats. He is the only player to be inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame 3 different times. As a player in 1989, a coach in 1998, and as an Olympian in 2010. That laughing right there is Matt Pittman, who joins us now, former Sonics employee, current Storm voice, and somebody that I've known for 20 years now.
Since Matt, we were both pups.
Since
Jake.
we were both tiny little babies.
Yeah.
What was your experience like when you were with the Sonics? We were both with the Sonics for a while. I was a ball boy, and you were in the announcing booth.
PA announcer, yep.
How many times did you get a chance to run into Wilkins? He was kind of a fixture at times.
He was totally a fixture. His number 19 was retired into the rafters. But he was, and still remains to this day, those clips. Those you could have picked 3 better clips to represent Lenny, the man. Thank you, Laura. Epitome of class, epitome of grace, epitome of leadership. I love that he talked about the young generations. We forget he was one of the first player coaches in the NBA, which was a trend for a while, and that started with his time here in Seattle as a player. He was here for 4 years. Was an all-star 3 of those years, was the head coach the last couple of years. He was really the first NBA star in Seattle, going all the way back to his first season in 1968 with the Seattle Supersonics. That was as a player, then as a player coach. Then he was traded to Cleveland, very unpopular trade here in Seattle at the time. Then, of course, he comes back to Seattle as head coach between 1969 and 1972. Leaves, comes back again in 77 and coached until 85 and was, of course, the head coach of the first ever major sports champion in our city's history, the 1979 Seattle Supersonics. He was coach of the year in the NBA that year. And just to put into perspective his career as a basketball player, a 9-time NBA All-Star, that's remarkable. He won a championship as a head coach in 1979. Fast forward to 1994, he wins his first NBA Coach of the Year award. That's the expanse of Lenny Wilkens' impression on the game of basketball.
I always thought that he was also one of just the nicest guys because he would come in and hang out. I mean, everybody looked up to him because he was like Mr. Basketball.
Oh, the room changed when he walked in.
Yeah.
For sure.
He's one of those guys that would walk in the locker room after the game and would just everybody be like, all right, this is like one of the coolest guys ever.
Yeah.
He's also from an era of basketball when everything was just a little bit cooler before it got super corporate is the wrong word I'm looking at. I don't know. It was a smaller game when he played, and people just respected the hell out of that.
Yeah, I think NBA players are quite aware that they're standing on the shoulders of the Lenny Wilkens before them. That heritage runs pretty deep.
Now everything. What I mean by that is like everything now is branding. Every player is all about branding now, and he comes from an era before that. And it
your social media feed.
Yeah, like none of that. It like just transcends all that. He's just like, all right, that's a cool guy. He played basketball really well. He did everything great.
Yeah.
So this statue, question for the statue for you. Deserved, obviously. I don't think anybody thinks against
No question.
That. Is there any other Sonics that you think would deserve a similar recognition?
So I'm going to answer your question with a question.
Okay.
I'll give you some time to ruminate on it. And for those of you listening out there, I know you'll probably have an opinion or two or three. Text us at 888-973-5476. Here's the question. What is your Seattle basketball Mount Rushmore? Ooh. Give me four. Okay? So one, obviously, is Lenny. Number two for me is Sue Bird, who, by the way, will have a statue added right next to Lenny's coming up in August.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. So her statue will be unveiled outside of Climate Pledge Arena at a ceremony August 17th. So Sue Bird's number two, played her entire career, greatest point guard in arguably U.S. basketball history, men's or women's. Number three for me is the glove, Gary Payton. He was the face of the franchise through its greatest era. And
how much crossover did you have with him while you were there?
Decent amount. I was there for his final season when he was traded.
Before he went to the Bucks.
Yeah. So not a ton. Got a chance to see him when he came back after winning his ring with the Heat. That kind of changed him. He was much more relaxed and happy, but the glove's the glove. I mean, watching that guy night in, night out as a fan, as an announcer, as a ball boy, it's a privilege.
He was unreal because when I was growing up, watching him on TV, I would go to, I didn't go to a ton of games when I was a kid. It's like, basketball is kind of an expensive sport to go and watch.
Yeah.
But anytime that we got a chance to go, it was Gary and watching Sean Kemp.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just these larger-than-life guys. So when I started working for the Sonics, and I walk into the locker room that first day, I walk in, and who do you think is standing right there? It's Gary Payton. My eyes almost exploded.
And his locker was right by the door.
Yeah, because you want to get out of there quickly. Yeah. It was also always the busiest spot for reporters and everybody. And so to see him in person was unreal.
Yeah.
Because he's a larger-than-life character on the court, but off the court, he's actually still a pretty big character off the court.
Dude, by the way, 6'4", like when you're watching him run with guys like...
You think he's tiny on the court, but he's way bigger than you in real life.
Right,
yeah, 6'4" is a big guy. Yeah. But again, so when you're surrounded by 6.5, 7-footers, you don't see him like the giantest, the biggest guy. Gary Payton would be on my list for sure. Who was your fourth, you said?
My fourth is Lauren Jackson of the Seattle Storm. She was a part of 2 of the 4 championships that the organization has. 2-time WNBA MVP, a WNBA Finals, most valuable player, most dominant player of her era. Storm don't win their first 2 championships without her. Just all-time great. Her and Sue's numbers are both retired by the Storm. So my Mount Rushmore has Lenny,
Wilkins,
Gary, Sue Bird, Lauren Jackson. Who you got?
Who's your fifth? Did you say a fifth?
There's only 4 on Mount Rushmore, my guy.
But you can't have a full team, though, unless you have 5. I thought you were saying who's your starting 5. That's what I thought the question was.
He's flipped this whole thing around on you, Laura.
That
Okay. Number 5 obviously would be Sean Kemp.
Okay. I would pick Sean Kemp, too.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say Sean Kemp. I don't know if he's going to get a statue now, given all the gun stuff that recently happened. But still a fun guy to watch.
I mean, it's still a fun guy, but his run of the prime, it just wasn't, I don't think, long enough. As where Gary was like a 9-time All-Star with the Sonics.
He was, but nationally, and Kemp,
you're right,
and Gary was as well. He was a huge national star, but like Kemp nationally with like NBA. What was it? Was it NBA basketball? What was the thing that he played where it was like kaboom, and he was dunking all the time? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What was the name of that game?
Don't
Why am I
remember.
blanking on that? Because I spent like 5,000 hours playing it every weekend.
Don't remember, but I know what you're talking about, yeah. Nate McMillan, honorable mention.
Nate was awesome. Nate was a cool guy. Yeah, he should definitely be on the Mount Rushmore starting 5. All right, Matt Pittman, thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
Text messages, give us your Mount Rushmore. You could pick 4 if you want to, or because I messed it up, you could give us your top 5 as well. We have a lot more coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The Closing Bell is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Common Sense Lending.
A Pacific Northwest community searching for answers.
Tragedy in northern Idaho.
Unbelievable. You just don't expect somebody to do that to a firefighter.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey is there.
Those firefighters, they arrived here to put out a fire started by the suspect. They had no idea where those bullets were coming from.
Stay with KIRO News Radio for the latest from the local voices you trust.
Attacks on first responders is sick.
KIRO News Radio on 97.3 FM and the KIRO News Radio app.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. green gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Puyallup Tribe's Firecracker Alley is now open. 3509 72nd Street East in Tacoma. Stock up now for the 4th at Puyallup Tribe's Firecracker Alley. Open now through July 4th. With over 100 fireworks stands and a variety of food and beverage options, you're sure to get your 4th of July off to a great start at Firecracker Alley. Don't miss the free fireworks show on July 1st. Learn more at puyalluptribe-nsn.gov. That's puyalluptribe-nsn.gov.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
Lori here from Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation, the original Make Your Roof Last company. Remember, your roof isn't just a roof. It's a shield guarding your loved ones and belongings. When replacement time rolls around, trust is key. That's why Guardian's crew isn't just skilled, they're licensed, vetted, and fully insured. And with our Guardian Guarantee, we promise your roof's done right the first time. Call now and get 1 year of maintenance free with the installation of a new roof, or visit us at guardianroofing.com.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Get lower energy bills, cleaner air, and year-round comfort with AeroSeal duct sealing. Normally $2,500. Now just $99 for PSE customers with each replacement furnace or heat pump from Home Comfort Alliance. Learn more at homecomfortalliance.com today.
AAA asked me if I would change my name from Sir Mix-a-Lot to Sir Mix-a-Lot. I said, why would I do that? They said, you're more than just a rapper. You're a car collector. You're a businessman. You're an inventor. Just like AAA is more than just towing. They have awesome travel advisors and insurance agents. And they got 3 A's in their name. Maybe I should change my name. Give me 3 A's. Mix A, mix A. When I say mix, give me 3 A's. Mix A.
All right, welcome back. Was that Sir Mix-a-Lot? Mixing something? Sounds like he was mixing something on the commercial break. All right, Laura saw this story. I thought this was fascinating. Buy now, pay later loans. Have you guys seen these? They're everywhere now. Buy now, pay later, and it's not just for. Back in the old day, they had like layaway. This was known as layaway, and you could buy something on time is another way it's referred to. But there have been all these companies that have now sprung up in the wake of just everyone being able to access these. Where
Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay, even PayPal has a pay in 4 installments option now. You'll see these on the side.
For tiny things.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes the payments are as low as like $6 over the course of several months.
I watched a guy on X. I don't know how the algorithm found me, but it knew that I would like it. You know what? I know why, because it was a Costco-related thing. But he purchased through Klarna. Is it Klarna? Which is one of these buy now, pay later apps. He purchased a Costco hot dog meal, which is $1.50, and he used Klarna. And so he was posting as he was making his payments weekly on this thing.
Incredible. What, 25 cents?
Yes.
No interest.
Yeah, no interest. It was $1.50. And so he posted this big thing. He was like, oh, so excited. I finally paid off my $1.50 hot dog in installments of like 25 cents a payment. So what's interesting about this is you have all these people who are using these buy now, pay later apps, and they've kind of just been something that people could do and remain unaffected by them. Klarna recently, I believe it was Klarna, I could be wrong about that, but I believe it was Klarna who announced that a lot of their buy now, pay later clients or people were not finishing making their payments, and so they were down, and people still owed them money, which obviously hurts their bottom line. So what they're going to do now is FICO, which is your credit score, and how these credit companies are now going to be reporting how people are making these payments, and that's now going to affect your overall credit score. So if you are a person who's making payments on, say, a $1.50 hot dog at Costco, and you're not making those payments successfully, they'll be able to show that on your credit score, which could hurt you if you want to buy a house or something like that. So people were asking, why haven't these been already affecting your credit scores? So the story, AP News has this. They said when using buy now, pay later loans, consumers pay for a given purchase in 4 installments, yada yada. The main 3 credit reporting bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, haven't yet incorporated a standard way of including these new financial products into their reports. So now they've fixed that. And so in a statement, FICO has said buy now, pay later loans are playing an increasingly important role in consumers' financial lives. And we're enabling lenders to more accurately evaluate credit readiness, especially for consumers whose first credit experience is through buy now, pay later products. What do you think about these, Laura? Good idea, bad idea?
Ooh, I think the chickens have come home to roost. I mean, when we had that story a few weeks ago about how lenders in these companies were like, well, people aren't always paying us back, and we don't really have a way to make them because it's 0 interest and it doesn't affect people's credit scores.
So why would you?
And I was like, I don't know. I think we're in a golden era. If you want to buy something you can't afford, get in while the getting's good. And sure enough, now it will hit your credit score because they do need some kind of hammer behind this. They were calling it in the AP article phantom debt. This idea that basically people have credit card debt that isn't actually on a credit card because they're using these layaway payments as kind of a loophole.
They just have the debt on an app, but it's not a credit card.
My question is, could it potentially raise your credit score if you're making those payments very faithfully?
Well, if it can negatively affect it, possibly. I mean,
right?
I don't know how they quantify that.
I've always heard about good debt. Like student loan debt is good debt because if you're paying it regularly, then your credit score will go up.
What a tricky word, good debt.
Good debt. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of it's good debt. Debt sucks.
But debt that will
have.
increase your credit score and then potentially save you thousands of dollars down the line when you try to buy a home.
Yeah.
Or a car.
But you still have you're still making the decision to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to take on this debt because ultimately it's going to be good for me down the road. Maybe it will, but you're still paying a lot of money. And the interest rate that people are paying on credit card debt, it should be criminal. Honestly, the amount of money, what is it, like 20% in some
cases? Credit card debt is
like
easily the worst you can have, and it's the easiest to get into.
It's the easiest to get into.
It's a trap,
It
truly.
basically like enslaves you to these payments. A lot of people can't even get out of it. You have thousands of dollars in credit card debt, you're just paying off interest. And and you look at that and you're like, why isn't my bottom line going down? Like, why am I not making any headway on this? Because you're just paying the interest. It's crazy.
And I get worried that people were using these, like Affirm, Klarna, as a way to finance things that they knew wouldn't affect their credit score and now are going to be stuck with payments, things that they can't repay, and it's going to hit their credit score, but they didn't know that getting into it. That doesn't feel fair to me.
Listen to this last line of this story. This is, I think, kind of what you're saying here, and I think it's entrapping people. FICO said that the new model will responsibly expand access to credit. Many users of the buy now, pay later loans are younger consumers and consumers who may not have a good or lengthy credit histories, which is probably why they're buying burritos on layaway.
Princess Polly coordinate sets.
In a joint study with Affirm, FICO trained in new scores on a sample of more than 500,000 buy now, pay later borrowers and found that consumers with 5 or more loans typically saw their scores increase or remain stable under the new model. My ultimate worry is that you're trying to get a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't be making bigger credit purchases in the door so they can make further bad financial decisions.
I think most young people have gotten wise to the store credit card. Like, Victoria's Secret had a credit card and they're like, oh my gosh, look at how much money you can get as a discount if you open a credit card with us, and it's so easy. And that tricked a lot of young millennials. And I think this is what has been tricking young Gen Z customers.
Those burritos, man. Those burritos will get you. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around. I went to Costco. I got to tell you, if you're watching the video feed on YouTube, which you should be already, I took some pictures in Costco yesterday. I could not believe what was for sale. I'll show them to you next. We'll be right back.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission. Free delivery. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandswimspasale.com.
Tired of sitting on your suitcase? 2 words. Packing cubes. Sometimes a different way is the better way. Like the SR 509 Expressway, an alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads. Now open and free through summer.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot. Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
An Australian hiker travels to the American West to walk a wilderness trail.
Wasn't afraid to be out on his own.
But Eric Robinson vanished in the high Uinta Mountains.
I remember thinking, Eric, what were you thinking, mate?
I'm Dave Cawley. Join me on my podcast, Uinta Triangle, where I travel the world to answer the question, what happened to Eric Robinson? Follow Uinta Triangle. That's UINTA Triangle on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. The clock is ticking towards the president's deadline of July 4th, but senators are still divided over his tax and spending plan. Democrat Peter Welch.
Never in my time in Congress have I seen a bill that does so much damage in so many ways to so many people in so many states.
Republican Mike Crapo.
Reining in wasteful spending, as achieved in this bill, is the best way to restore economic prosperity and opportunity for all Americans.
Senators are considering proposed amendments to the bill today in what's called a vote-a-rama. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns on Capitol Hill.
We are expecting this vote tonight to go through late night, early into the early hours of tomorrow morning, presumably passing it by tomorrow morning, but then still has to pass the House. And on the House side, there are some very strong concerns about some of the changes that have been made here on the Senate side.
CBS's Jerika Duncan is in Manhattan, where the jury in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs is deliberating, but hit a snag early on. One juror wants clarification of the judge's instructions.
We heard that the juror number 25 is actually having questions about how to sort of take all of this information in that they were given for over 2.5 hours and apply it to those charges.
The Justice Department has charged more than 300 defendants with alleged health care fraud worth $15 billion. Christopher Cruz has that story.
Among those charged, 96 doctors, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, and other licensed medical professionals. Federal and state law enforcement agencies throughout the country took part in the takedown, which officials say netted more than $245 million in cash, luxury vehicles, cryptocurrency, and other assets.
Europe is enduring a sweltering heat wave. This American tourist in London.
It's really hot. It's definitely a little bit challenging, I would say, in terms of just because there's not necessarily a big breeze.
It could hit 105 in Paris tomorrow. The latest standoff in the trade war between the U.S. and Canada has calmed for now. The White House says the Canadian Prime Minister caved. Here's Stacey Lynn.
The digital services tax that was due to take effect today has now been scrapped, and talks between the two countries are back on. President Trump had suspended trade talks Friday, calling the levy a blatant attack. But 48 hours later, the Canadian government folded.
On Wall Street, stocks finished higher. The S&P 500 rose to another record. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit Progressive.com today.
Coming up, healthcare workers on strike. That's after we go to the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. Just cleared a crash on 405. Up in Bothell at SR 522 was blocking the right lane of the on-ramp. Still seeing some residual backups right now. Bellevue to Linwood, it's taking you about 40 minutes. Seattle up into Everett, about a 45-minute drive. Rest of the map, just typical slowing for this time of day. Looking at a 35-minute drive from Linwood to Seattle. Approaching 1 hour, though, from Tacoma to Olympia. Jammed up right around that JBLM slowdown. Lake bridges are in good shape. Right now, the Bellevue to Renton Drive taking you under 30 minutes, but still a little thick out of downtown and into Factoria. This report brought to you by KIRO News Radio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Emergency workers hit the picket line in Parkland.
They just want us to bargain against ourselves, and we're sick of it.
She works for Multicare, where frontline workers say they are frustrated over contract negotiations. KIRO 7 TV's Renji Sinha reports from Parkland.
These picketers are taking this moment leading up to the 4th of July to hold a 5-day strike.
I have worked the last 3 4th of Julys here. We always have trauma. It always has to have you function at your top skill level. And at this point, we don't know the caliber of the employees that they have brought in to replace us.
The union representing these workers only certified their union in May of 2024. And since then, the workers say Multicare has been engaged in unfair labor practices.
Now, Multicare denies that, says it's negotiating in good faith, adding it does not anticipate any disruption to patient care. Multiple fire crews responded to a church fire in Auburn overnight. As KIRO 7 TV's Eric Thomas reports, the flames broke out at All Saints Lutheran Church on Military Road.
According to King County Fire District 20, the church was one of several buildings that caught on fire. Now, the cause of that fire is still under investigation.
No injuries are reported. Federal investigators are working with county fire crews to determine the cause. Former Seahawk Richard Sherman is due in court this hour. He is set to enter a plea after being charged with DUI. This stems from an arrest more than 1 year ago. Meantime, it was a round of not guilty pleas this morning for the man accused of breaking into professional athletes' homes, including Richard Sherman's. KIRO News Radio's Gwen Baumgartner was at that arraignment.
Robbery in the first degree on or about March 30 and count 4 residential burglary on or
A judge laying out the charges against 21-year-old Earl Riley IV, unlawful possession of a firearm, eluding police, robbery, and 4 burglary counts. To all, he pleaded not guilty Monday. Prosecutors call him the ringleader in a string of home break-ins, targeting Sherman, Mariner Julio Rodriguez, and other pro athletes at their King County homes. Riley's arraignment was scheduled for last week, but he refused to leave his jail cell. He returns to court in mid-July. Gwen Baumgartner, KIRO News Radio.
And your forecast now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Feeling like summer now. 84 for the high today, 83 tomorrow, then 70s for the rest of the week, mostly sunny. Right now looking at 80 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO Newsradio.
Welcome back to the show. 2 hours down, 1 to go. Spike O'Neill's out today. I am in, though, so I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Laura's also in. We've been having a lot of fun. A lot of stuff to talk about. Laura, I went into Costco yesterday, and as I tend to do on Sundays, it's kind of a crazy time to go, I guess.
Yeah, I'm there on like a Tuesday at 7:30 p.m.
Which is the right time to go. Like
Yeah.
Tuesday or Wednesday,
Empty.
perfect time,
Yep.
empty. What I like to do is, for maximum pain, I take 3 of my kids and I go at the busiest time of the week, which is what
The 3 youngest, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was in there yesterday and just getting some stuff. And as I was walking around the store, a couple of things happened that I found noteworthy and I want to share with you. One, I don't know what was going on. There was something in the air, literally like static or something, because have you guys ever experienced this? As I'm walking around and I'm holding the cart, and I don't think I've ever been in a Costco without a cart because you never know what treasures you might find. I have 3 kids who are all in some various version of on the cart. One of them is in the cart. 2 of them are just like running along the sides as I'm pushing them. And I'm getting shocked the entire time. And I don't know why this is happening. Maybe it's because I don't know. There's just like static in the air. It was a weird thing. Every time I touched the handle of the cart, literally it felt like, have you ever used one of those like tiny little bug zappers?
Yes.
It's just like,
or that prank, grab this stick of gum type of thing.
Exactly. And it happened the entire time. And I didn't know why it was happening. And it kept happening. And I think there was some static thing that was kicking in with the wheel or it was a prank. I don't know what. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I turned down an aisle once we got through the fruit and veg section. And we got our eggs and we got our milk and we got all the stuff. And then the payoff for the kids is twofold. One, I promised them ice cream sundaes if they were good kids, which they're going to get anyway, so whatever. So they're waiting for those. But the other thing is, while we're in the store, there's like a toy section where you can walk down and you can see like whatever the current water slide inflatable thing is. There's always like golf clubs and stuff like that. And there's some toy that Costco has that the kids want to see. So we're walking down that section and I couldn't believe it. They have Christmas decorations up. And we have these right now. If you're watching online, I took pictures of these myself. They have Halloween and Christmas decorations, which I was kind of astounded by because it's not even July yet. Today is June 30th. This was June 29th. I was in there yesterday. I was like, wait a minute, is that Christmas stuff? Do you remember them ever offering Christmas supplies this early? Does this seem a little early to you?
No. When I was a kid, I was always so upset when I would see school supplies and Halloween stuff in June, July.
Sure.
Because it was like, oh, summer just started.
Yeah, now you're
Come on, people.
Summer for
Let me breathe. But Christmas.
This is 6 months early. This seems soon to me. I don't know what, I mean, I will say, you pointed this out earlier when I showed you these pictures, Laura, which I took, and I think I did a good job framing them as well. They're really nice, the decorations. The bows in particular are lovely. And I don't have a price on those, so I can't report on the price. But they did look really nice. There's also, what you're seeing there is like this was something I thought Spike would like. It's like a 10-foot looking LED eye skeleton that is like sticks out of the ground, like halfway out of the ground. So it looks like it's crawling out of the ground.
Yeah, I'm sure Spike knows about this because they've been out for like a year or two. But people put them on their roofs so it looks like the skeleton's crawling out of your house. Yeah. And it's giant. It's like, it's basically the 12-foot skeleton, but cut in half as if it's emerging from the ground.
Does this feel soon to you, though, for Christmas? Does it feel like they're just, is the marketing so good at Costco that they just know that people will buy it, and so why not? Or does it feel like they're kind of forcing it on us a little bit?
I have a conspiracy theory. Do you want to hear it?
Please.
I think during COVID, there were so many shortages of everything that people started like panic buying stuff. And I think that energy has stuck around. I've noticed that because I'm a big, like admittedly, bizarre for how young I am, I love decorating for the holidays. I have like 4 huge bins of Halloween decor, Christmas decor, just for my apartment where I live alone with a cat.
You and your cat. Yeah.
But I love it. I love it. And in recent years, if you start shopping the month of the holiday, everything's already gone. Things are sold out. They will not restock. Like you have to be, I buy for Halloween stuff September at the latest.
Sure.
Because stuff will just go.
It's really expensive. The best time to shop, this annoys me, but my wife's always, because I'm always wanting to get new holiday decorations and stuff. And she's always like, well, you got to wait until after the holidays. But I've already exercised the demons of the excitement of the holidays, so I have no interest in buying stuff after the fact, even though I know that a year from now, I will use it. And I'm looking back going like, oh man, I wish I had bought all those great cheap lights, because lights are so crazy expensive. And I never do. But you can go into Home Depot like after Christmas. If you go to Home Depot, everything's 75% off because they just want to get it off the shelves. So maybe that is happening here too. Costco just knows that they have all of this inventory that they've been holding on to. And they're just getting rid of the last year's stuff before their new stuff comes in.
Well, and stuff goes so viral now. I mean, the skeleton is a great example of this just because
I remember talking about this?
Well, the 12-foot skeleton went viral. It was being sold at the original one that Spike does own and keeps in his living room.
Yeah, it's weird.
It went viral as being sold at Home Depot. And part of it was like the virality was you couldn't get one.
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh my God, I found one. Yes, I have to buy it. They were being resold, like there's a whole second market for if you manage to get your hands on these things.
People are
just
so
this
weird.
Crazy like consumerist culture that I don't know how I feel about. And also just like internet-based shopping. It's no longer like, oh, what does my neighbor have up? Let me compete with my neighbor. It's like, what am I seeing on TikTok?
What does the internet tell me I should buy?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a strange thing. It's definitely a strange thing. All right. Can we get to something else that's kind of not strange that I found very satisfying? Down in Portland, so this is a semi-local story. There is a ICE detention facility where they are removing some people from the country or holding on to some folks as they await trial down in Portland. And apparently you've got a bunch of Antifa folks who have been now protesting there for like going on, I believe they're going on 21 days now. Every single night in Portland, they are blaring music as a way to upset the people inside the ICE building by protesting with loud music. They're also annoying the heck out of everybody in this neighborhood in Portland. And so this lady, there's a video, we have the audio from it. There's a video though of this lady who's walking out and looks like maybe walking is not super easy for her. She's got a cane. She's got obviously like some sort of a issue. But she walks out of her apartment and she walks across the street. And this is in the dead middle of the night. And she starts screaming at these ICE folks to stop it. Just leave the neighbors alone for a minute. Let them get some sleep. Listen to this confrontation. Oh, I have some audio here. Here we go.
Down! It's midnight! I will turn it down. I would love to. You just have to ask nice, and I'm being nice even though you're screaming at me.
That would drive me wild, by the way. Somebody's like blasting music all night, keeping me awake and my kids, and then they tell me I have to ask nicely for them to stop playing the music and annoying everybody. She's had enough of it.
Oh, okay. I'm coming back every night. I'm destroying and wrecking your. Turn it down. We the people need sleep. I tell you to shut the up. I'm sleeping. Hey guys, who the do you think you are?
What would you do in this situation, Laura? Would you just call the cops? Would you go and ever try to deal with it on your own? Like 21 days. 21 days of this nonsense.
Man. I do think like walking down and talking to them would probably be the most effective way to be like, hey, I live in the neighborhood. I support the cause, but I can you guys like not blast the music after 10 o'clock?
Please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a working person.
Unbelievable.
I do think that maybe this neighbor's mistake was waiting until she was driven truly mad to say anything.
You think she should have gone polite?
Nothing. I mean, and you know this because you have a lot of young kids. Nothing makes you crazier than lack of sleep. Like it breaks people faster than anything. It's literally like a torture tactic that they use.
Yeah. They keep people awake. That's just simple torture.
Exactly. And it feels like she's just completely hit a breaking point, completely lost it. I think it probably would have been a little more effective if she'd been like, hi.
I don't know about that. Honestly, I don't know about that. I don't know if
Who do I talk to about the loudspeakers?
I don't know if you can negotiate with terrorists. I'm like a Harrison Ford Air Force One believer. Like we don't negotiate with terrorists. Like these people are only there to sow seeds of chaos. That's all they want to do. They were so excited. They might have been uncomfortable in the moment. You could tell when you're watching this video. They're very uncomfortable that she's approaching them and screaming at them and telling them to shut up with lots of expletives. But you can also tell that they're pretty excited that they're getting video footage of this because it's drawing attention to themselves, which is what they want. 21 days is ridiculous, and it's so disrespectful to the people in that community. In Portland, who I imagine, like you just said, probably are fairly sympathetic to their cause, but they're quickly making enemies out of people who might be friends when you don't let them sleep for 21 days. That's nuts. So there's got to be some other way for them to get their message across.
Well, it's the ultimate liberal struggle, right? Like, do I protest for the people being held unfairly in an ICE detention center, or do I yell back at an elderly black woman with a cane who I've been keeping up all night?
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And all these
Which
people,
is worse.
all these, it's people who broke the law originally would be worse. She should probably err on the side of protecting this woman's ability to live her life in Portland and go to work and function than people who made the decision to come to the country illegally. There are repercussions for that, and so they have to deal with that issue. This lady's just trying to get some sleep in an apartment she rents legally in a place that she's free to live and work. And they're not letting her do that. They're screaming every single night with these loud stereos, trying to make their point, and she's had enough. So God bless her. I hope she got through to them. Can we play this story real fast, too? I thought this was kind of interesting. There was I'd never heard of this band. Have you heard of this band before? This British rapping duo? How do you pronounce this name?
I don't know.
Bob something? Bob Vylan? Bob Vylan? It's not Bob Vila.
I'll admit that I'm not up to date on British rappers specifically.
All right.
Something about the British accents when they're rapping just makes it seem like deeply uncool to me.
Yeah, it's
no offense.
No, none
It's
taken
just so
from me.
posh.
So this is Bob Vylan. It is a rapping punk rock or rap punk duo who were performing.
Oh, Bob Vylan, because it's a tribute to Bob Dylan. But that's a clever rhyme.
Oh, but Vylan. I get it. Okay. I actually don't really get it. But anyways, so they're performing at Glastonbury, which is a big music festival. And while they are up on stage, and this has kind of been all over the news recently, while they're up on stage, they start leading chants talking about Gaza and talking about Palestine and all these things. And then they lead the crowd in a chant of death to the IDF. And this is how that sounds. You have tens of thousands of people who are in the crowd just kind of like mindlessly chanting along. Listen to this.
Death to the IDF. Death to the IDF. Death to the
Israeli Defense Forces, by the way, if you don't know what IVF means.
IDF. Death to the IDF. Death to the IDF. Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be.
All right, so that was very viral, and somebody noticed. They said, hey, did you guys know that they kick off a U.S. tour in just a couple of months here after the summer? They're going to come. Their first stop, did you see where their first stop was supposed to be? Spokane, Washington.
No way.
Isn't that crazy? So they were originally scheduled, I believe, on a 26-city U.S. tour, starting in Spokane, making their way out to Seattle. They were going to have some concert in Seattle. I would imagine expressing similar sentiments, but the State Department has looked into it and has decided to revoke their visas. So they are no longer allowed to come into the country. The State Department announced they have banned the rapping punk duo from performing in the United States. And they said foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to our country. And so they have just banned them from coming into the country, which I find very interesting. All right, here's another story that I found fascinating and very, very cool. A father, think about this. You're out on the ocean. You're on a dream cruise. You're on a Disney cruise. Have you ever been cruising, Laura? You've never been on a cruise ship.
No, not my thing.
You only say that because you've never been.
Really?
Yes. You would love it. This story aside, because it's kind of scary.
I feel like I only see stories like this about cruises, and it makes me not ever want to go on a cruise.
No, a cruise is super fun for a lot of reasons that you're not even like imagining. What's cool about a cruise, before I tell you the story, a girl fell off a cruise ship, but her dad jumped in and saved her. So it's a happy ending story. She survived. I'll tell you that story first, then I'll tell you why cruise ships are awesome. She fell off the 4th floor of a $900 million Disney Dream ship. I think the ship was originally built, doesn't matter, but early 2000s and refurbished in 2024. Passengers watched in horror as this girl fell off the ship. She's in the Atlantic Ocean, and her dad makes a split-second decision, as all parents would, jumps in after her. I would hope all parents would. Jumps in after her, keeps her afloat, and because everybody was watching and people saw them in the water, they quickly announced to the ship, hey, we've got, I don't think we have audio of this, do we? No. Hey, we've got people in the water. We've got man overboard, which is the emergency code, MOB, and they quickly are able to get one of their little dinghies in the water and race over to save them. They got them back in the water. Everyone's fine, which is amazing. Normally these stories end horribly because cruise ships are like 20 stories tall, and if they fall from any higher, they could die on impact. But they survived this one, so that's great. So here's the reason. Oh, and then here's what Disney Cruise Line said about it. They said the crew aboard the Disney Dream swiftly rescued 2 guests from the water. We commend our crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions, which ensured the safety of both guests. To the ship within minutes, we are committed to safety and well-being for our guests, and this incident highlights the effectiveness of our safety protocols. Although no serious injuries were reported, questions remain about how the child managed to fall over the ship's plexiglass safety barriers. That one's easy to guess. Kids climb things, and they climbed too close, and they fell, and that's probably what happened. But cruising, Laura, the reason you would love it is because you're just forced to do nothing. I mean, there's a lot of activities on a cruise ship, which is a lot of fun, but there's no pressure to do anything because you're just kind of there.
I feel like that's why I would hate it.
No. It's the opposite of what you would think. That's why you would like it.
I wouldn't. You're saying I wouldn't go stir crazy? Because
No.
To me, it feels like you're trapped. There's nothing to look at miles around you. Except I would consider an Alaskan cruise because you're seeing gorgeous coastline. But like the idea of being out in the middle of the ocean, not being able to see any views, with a bunch of people with nothing to do, and then we stop in a handful of different places where everyone from all the cruise ships gets off at once, and we like rush whatever little town in Cinque Terre.
You rush to go to the tourist shop.
Yeah.
So the reason that's wrong is because booze, one. So like when you're on the ship, you just have an excuse to just be drinking all the time,
sure.
which is a lot of fun.
If you pay for the package or sneak things in.
You could sneak things in. I've heard of people doing that.
People are so creative. I love watching those videos.
You're not under pressure to be doing stuff. You might go play shuffleboard with random strangers that you've never met, also drinking. And you're just chilling out, having fun. And you're only at sea, like the Alaska cruise I've done a few times. You're only at sea there's only one part of the cruise where you're out at sea all day. The rest of it, you're like near the coastline. There's stuff to look at. But there's like a million things to do on those boats. You can get there's all the services you might want. There's tea. There's stuff.
Tea.
Yeah, just like stuff you would never do in your normal life.
I drink tea all the time. I thought you were making the tea pitch because you know that I don't drink coffee.
But that's it. But you would love it. Like if you go on a Princess cruise, they have tea service where they have all of the crumpets.
Like a high tea. Like a high afternoon tea. Ooh,
yeah.
Okay, I would like that.
And it feels fancy, but you've already paid the price. It's like all-inclusive. You already paid for everything. So you can just do everything, and you're not worrying about price, except for booze, which, again, you can buy a package. But it's great. I highly recommend it. Try the Alaska one. If you're going to start a cruise, try the Alaska one first.
And that feels like the most obvious choice.
It's the obvious one because you don't have to fly to it. So it's like very low risk.
Just basically walk to it.
You could walk to it. Yeah, absolutely. That would be your entry point. Just try the Alaska one.
I'll consider it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You'll like it. All right, we have a lot more coming up. We got your text messages. Also, this is really interesting. Malcolm Gladwell, he did a study recently of driverless cars. He has an idea about he has a theory about why driverless cars will not work in cities. It's kind of funny, and I see his point, and I think he's correct on this. So we will play that for you as well when we get back. Tons of stuff, so stick around. We'll be right back.
This hour is brought to you by Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder. An equal housing opportunity builder.
Looking for a simple solution to hair loss this summer? Get the same breakthrough one-day treatment I received at Advanced Hair during their once yearly summer savings event. Your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day, and Advanced Hair guarantees it will grow. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar during their best offer of the year. For details and a free consultation, call 425-449-8185. AdvancedHair.com.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
Progressive's Teen Driver Discount could lower the cost of insurance for your teenager and save you some money. And then you can still spend money on them. Because just when you think you have a grasp on spending, new sneakers. And then it's money for a school field trip. And of course, spending money. Oh yeah, and a new phone to replace the one they dropped in the toilet. Oh, don't remind me. So just get Progressive's Teen Driver Discount. And then you can continue to spend money on them. Endlessly. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states and subject to terms and conditions.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally draining, but it can also be a financial hardship. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients. We cover essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. This year, we are proud to celebrate 25 years of Northwest Hope and Healing. Since the year 2000, we have distributed over $2.8 million in direct financial assistance to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can help us make a difference. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 17th at the Columbia Collective in Woodinville. It's an unforgettable afternoon of unwavering hope and inspiration. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 17th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission. Free delivery. Angel of the Winds Arena Everett. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. 'Cause I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Still no known motive for yesterday's deadly attack on firefighters in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris just confirmed the suspect is 20-year-old Wes Rowley. He says at one point, Rowley wanted to be a firefighter.
We don't know if there's a nexus to that desire and what happened.
Norris says Rowley shot himself after intentionally setting a wildfire and ambushing first responders. 2 firefighters were killed. The third was injured. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey reports from Coeur d'Alene.
Fire crews are using 2 helicopters to dump water on that wildfire started by the suspect, 20-year-old Wes Rowley. Neighbors are mourning the loss of those 2 firefighters killed.
Well, it's unbelievable. You just don't expect somebody to do that to a firefighter, of all people, you know. It's just a sad thing.
In Coeur d'Alene, Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Get ready to pay more at the pump. Starting tomorrow, Washington's gas tax jumps by 6 cents a gallon up to 55.4 cents. Lawmakers passed that increase this past session, saying the extra money will help fix a big backlog in highway maintenance. Also, driving through downtown Seattle Tunnel will cost you a little more starting tomorrow. KIRO News Radio's Nate Connors reports.
When tolling began in 2018, the Washington State Transportation Commission approved a 3% toll increase every 3 years. July 1st, that goes up 5 cents during off-peak and morning hours, 10 cents during peak evening hours. Toll revenue goes towards tunnel maintenance and construction debt. According to WashDOT, roughly 52,000 commuters use that tunnel daily. Before tolling began, that number was closer to 77,000. Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
A new team arrives in the Pac-12. It is Texas State. The move giving the conference its 8th football playing school. That means it's enough to keep its status as a Power 5 conference. The Texas State Bobcats joining Washington State and Oregon State in the rebuilt Pac-12 launching next year. Now to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, and just cleared a crash in Bothell on southbound 405 at Northeast 195th. Had 2 left lanes blocked, including the toll lane. It is all cleared, but you are still seeing some decent backups right now. Linwood to Bellevue, about 50-minute drive. There's a 30-minute delay. Right now, Linwood to Seattle taking you 45 minutes. Tacoma to Olympia, 54. That's just volume, pretty heavy right now through JBLM. Renton to Puyallup, that is also thick right now, 1 hour. Again, just volume there with big backups right now from Auburn to Everett. And right now, Bellevue to Renton, about a 30-minute trip, pretty heavy from downtown into Victoria, then clearing up once you reach the landing. And your weather update now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. We are seeing all sunshine today, and for tomorrow, right now, 81 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. A lot of text messages today. I'm glad for it. Thank you so much for participating. It's really fun for us to hear what you guys have to think as well. So thank you for those. You can also get us on the YouTube page where the chat line is always a fun conversation. We like to dip in there from now and again. And you guys are also talking to each other, which is kind of neat. All right, let's get to some of these. Laura, why don't you start us off talking about gas tax in Washington?
We got the most texts on this story from Chris Sullivan. This is crazy. 253 says you would think that with all that gas tax, our roads would be the best.
That's true. You would think that, but that's not the case. Brett in Olympia says the EV drivers pay higher registration fees than fossil fuel drivers or combustion engine drivers. Okay, thank you, Brett.
Which is true. And 425 and another 425 both point out that Oregon and Idaho do have income tax, and we do not.
We do not, and we better keep it that way. 425, remember Idaho has, oh yeah, they said Oregon, Idaho has an income tax. Let's read this one. Michelle in Olympia says, yes, drag out that CCA and totally review, edit it, cut it to sensible intent and reasonable goals. Also, is it time for an income tax? No, Michelle, it's not. As you know, gas taxes are, like the rest of Washington tax laws, regressive. Many of us have just had it. Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Very interesting.
Stephen Bothell says, how about we are more efficient with the expenditures on our roads? I don't think a $50 million roundabout on 145th in Seattle and Shoreline is a good expenditure. It's padding people's pockets is what it's doing.
I've really come, this is not meant to be a pun, but it kind of is clever as I'm saying it. I've come full circle on roundabouts.
I bet you have.
I hated them at first. They're doing them pretty much everywhere now. Up in Snohomish County, they've just recently discovered roundabouts, and they've kind of gone overboard. Like, when you meet people who discover new fads, they kind of go at it too hard.
Oh my gosh, I wish I could remember the name of the town off the top of my head, but if you're driving north from Portland up to Seattle, there's an exit about halfway through where it is, I kid you not, and if anyone on the text line knows what this one is called, 6 roundabouts. Like, it felt like I was on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
My mom and I could not stop laughing, trying to figure out how to get to the Starbucks. Like, we could see it, and there were probably 4 roundabouts between us. We were like, hold on.
Just kept going in circles.
Giggling, so, oop, missed it. Let's go back around.
That's the great thing about roundabouts. You're always going to get another chance.
It's true.
They're crazy, but they are really effective when you do finally learn how to use them. And so
the problem is that a lot of people don't know how to use them, and that's stressful.
I was driving. I've told the story once on the air, but it bears repeating. I was driving behind an older person, like, can't teach an old dog new tricks. It was an old lady. She's driving a classic old lady car. She's in literally like an Oldsmobile boat of a car. And she arrives. I'm just imagining what her life was looking like when she arrived at this roundabout, which is ridiculous. It's up in Snohomish County. If you know which one I'm talking about, you'll know which one I'm talking about. She arrives at it, and it's exactly like what you're describing, where there's basically it's kind of a connection of 5 or 6 roundabouts, giving you a lot of options and very confusing. And she just sits there and stares at it. Now, a roundabout is meant that you just are constantly in motion.
You're not supposed to stop. That's kind of the whole point.
That's kind of the whole point. You sometimes have to wait to merge into a roundabout because other people are coming through traffic and everything. But in this case,
the best ones have a lane that still lets you kind of yield and start getting in.
Sure.
Yeah. She's at a dead stop.
She's at a dead stop, and the roundabout is empty. And I know that in her head, she's just doing the math, and she's trying to figure out the equation. How do I go forward? What do I do? Which way do I go? It's always to the right, by the way. And she sits there for a moment, and then she just says, screw it. And she just hits the gas, and she just goes over the middle of the roundabout.
No.
Yeah. And I'm sitting behind her with my kids,
way.
and we're all just laughing. And my son is like, oh, can she do that? And I was like, no, she can't. But
she just did.
Yeah, God bless her. So she just drives over the center of it. That's not how roundabouts are designed. But if you know what you're doing, they can be very effective, and they can cut down on traffic.
And if you don't know, that's a helpful shortcut.
That is, yeah, just
straight from us.
Apparently right over the middle. But do not take that advice. Don't go over the middle. Let's see here. Stephen Bothell. How about we are more efficient with expenditures? Oh, no, you
I
already
just
read
read that one. Yeah.
Let's see here. Ryan in Auburn. Soli, where are our free EV bikes? Was there free e-bikes? Were they giving away free EV bikes?
Yeah, we did that story a couple months ago.
Where was
Susie
it
on
free?
Hilltops. It was a Seattle thing. Don't forget the
that's
Climate Commitment
right.
Act paid at least $120,000 on e-bikes for about 10,000 people.
That's right. And you could get a rebate.
It was a rebate.
You could buy a bike, and we were discussing whether or not people should do it, even if you don't use the bike. You know what? Didn't we make a bet that Spike was not going to ride his bike into work?
Yes.
Was that time?
Yeah. Did you write down how many times you think he'd do it this summer and
I
put
did.
it on an envelope?
I did.
Okay.
And I have it.
We got to open that up at, what do you think, August? End of August?
I think end of August. I think the official end of summer is probably the end of Seafair. So on the last day of Seafair.
And we'll see if he beats your number.
We'll see if he beats my number. And I don't think I will. I don't think he will. All right, go for it. Let's see, get another one of these in here.
On the Idaho ambush snipers, horrible, horrible story out of Coeur d'Alene. Braden in Snohomish says the fact that the men that were killed are the same men that would run into a burning building and potentially lose their own lives to save a total stranger, such as the shooter, is just absolutely sick and despicable. Pure evil.
Yeah. That's a great point, Braden. These guys are heroes. These men and women who are fighting these fighters are heroes. And we don't know what the motivation for this guy was. We don't know what he was doing. I can only assume that somebody who finds himself in that mental state where you're setting a fire, knowing that you're going to be luring in first responders, like Braden says, whose job it is to go in there and be heroes, risk their own lives to save people's lives.
To save you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
What he has against firefighters, I have no idea. Is he just was he a mentally ill, crazy person? We don't know any of these things yet. They're still investigating. I imagine more information will come out as we learn it. But it's really tough because they're in the middle of they're also fighting a wildfire, which is totally making it very difficult to, treat that as a normal crime scene. And we'll find out more when we know it. And when we do, we will share it with you. All right, let's move on to these Maltipoos up for adoption in Pierce County. T in Conway says Maltipoos are basically cats that bark. Ours only wanted to be on your lap or to be petted when she wanted. They're adorable little dogs, so
they're really cute. But do they bark? Because wasn't that what the original noise complaint was, where they found all of them because they were all barking?
Yeah. So
what are dogs that don't bark?
Yeah, it'd be weird if they didn't bark. You don't want a dog that can't bark. That's sad.
Not like can't, but doesn't need to. It's not its first instinct.
I think a dog's instinct is to bark. It's kind of the only reason they're around.
I'm such a cat person.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a cat question for sure. That's a cat owner question. But these, if you're interested, if you go down to is it the Pierce County Humane Society?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where they're at? There was a lady down there who was breeding these apparently, and it got out of hand, and she had too many of them, and there was a noise complaint. They went over and with a warrant, they said, we got to take these from you, unfortunately. She said, hey, actually, I'm fine with it because I can't take care of all these animals. And so now they're at the Humane Society, and they're looking for people to adopt them. They are adorable little dogs. They live between 12 and 15 years. Best case scenario, maybe even longer. And if you're interested, you got to get down there and apply in person.
And normally they're like, fast. I just Googled it, $1,000 to $4,000.
They're beautiful.
A pop for a Maltipoo puppy.
And I believe the story said that they have all their current on their records. They have all their everything.
Yeah.
So just go get yourself a good dog.
Gosh, they're so cute.
Yeah, very cute. Let's get one of these firework ones in here, Laura.
On No Fireworks Show in SeaTac, Brendan, Grays Harbor County says, I heard earlier that there were 10,000 people and only half a dozen or so security personnel, and that might have something to do with why they needed to cancel the show.
That was one of the reasons that they gave. They said it's based on public safety, and they wanted to make sure that they had enough law enforcement officers there just in case something happened. I don't necessarily buy that excuse. I think there's something else going on. They tried last year to do the drone show. That was a disastrous flop. All the drones fell into the water. They got their money back for that, which was good. But this language about them wanting to find a more inclusive way to celebrate 4th of July feels confusing to me. And I think, I don't know what their motivation would be to not celebrate 4th of July, because it's an awesome holiday and everybody...
Short of making national news last year for the...
Yeah.
A drone flop. You could also call it a drone plop. I mean, they just, all fell in the lake.
I think they should celebrate it and just blow something big up in the sky. People be happy. You'll love it.
Just like one big thing.
Just one big thing.
Burning Man style. Just light something on fire.
One big boom. Everybody goes home.
You didn't hear that idea from me.
Safely.
Yeah.
Obviously, safely. All right. We got a lot more coming up. One last segment with us, and stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but... what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk. A wireless company that actually stands for something.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills, maybe.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X-Fi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Now that summer is here, our family's gearing up for some big road trips in our Subaru Outback. We bought our Outback from Carter Subaru, where your drive always begins with savings. And right now, you can get the 2025 Crosstrek with 2.9% APR for 48 months. Shop with the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at Carter Subaru's Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 6/30/25.
Hartley Wilcox here from Wilcox Family Farms. It's been fun meeting people at our recent egg demo events. I'm often asked, what do the hens eat? Well, Wilcox hens eat natural grains, seeds, and grass. They forage for worms and bugs, and their diet is free from pesticides and fertilizers. For fresh local eggs, look for Wilcox eggs at Safeway, Town & Country Markets, or Amazon Fresh. Wilcox Family Farms, locally fresh since 1909.
300 pounds? That's about how much food the average person in the state of Washington wastes each year. Wasting food also wastes money, water, energy, labor, transportation, and more. G. Scott here. If we use food well, together we can accomplish the goal of reducing food waste by 50%. Use Food Well is a roadmap to reducing food waste with simple tips and tricks we can all use. Visit usefoodwell.org today. That's usefoodwell.org. Brought to you by Safeway and the Department of Ecology.
Puyallup Tribe's Firecracker Alley is now open. 3509 72nd Street East in Tacoma. Stock up now for the 4th at Puyallup Tribe's Firecracker Alley. Open now through July 4th. With over 100 fireworks stands and a variety of food and beverage options, you're sure to get your 4th of July off to a great start at Firecracker Alley. Don't miss the free fireworks show on July 1st. Learn more at puyalluptribe-nsn.gov. That's puyalluptribe-nsn.gov.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For them, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. An Aussie trekker travels to America to hike an epic trail.
It was rocky, it was imposing.
But Eric Robinson never made it to the end. I'm Dave Cawley. Follow my podcast, Uinta Triangle, UINTA, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Motorcycle accident cases require a thorough investigation by a team of experienced legal professionals if they have any chance of being successful. Insurance companies, juries, and even the police tend to assume the worst about motorcycle riders. Get help from an experienced team of attorneys that have successfully resolved hundreds of motorcycle accident cases over the past 30 years. Call Davis Law Group for a free legal consultation or get my free book on motorcycle accidents at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com. That's Davis Law Group, better service and even better results.
Welcome back to the show. Driverless cars. You guys want to talk about driverless cars for a second? I actually heard this. I think it might have been on one of his podcasts at some point. Malcolm Gladwell, who is the 10,000 Hours guy. He was speaking, I think this is at a Wall Street Journal event or something, but he was talking about driverless cars and his experience with driverless cars. And everybody seems to think that that would be the way of the future, although he says there is a very specific reason why he doesn't think that driverless cars are going to be successful. And I want to play this audio and we chat about it. Here you go.
Driverless cars in an urban setting don't work because they work too well, right? So what we went to Phoenix where they had Waymo, and I had my producer get in the Waymo, and I ran alongside the Waymo, and I would cut the Waymo off, and the Waymo, of course, because it's got like 58 sensors, would stop instantly, right? And I would run circles around the Waymo, and the Waymo would sit there patiently waiting for me to get out of the way. And I realized if every car on the road is a driverless car, then there is no penalty whatsoever to pedestrians misbehaving. If you're a kid, why don't 11-year-old boys play soccer on the streets on 42nd Street in Manhattan? Because they're going to get hit by a car and killed. But if every car is a Waymo, they're all going to stop and they're going to wait there for hours until you finish their game. The Waymo is, so the whole point of deterrence, the reason...
Isn't this funny? Like, what a stupid, funny thing to realize.
Deterrence with human drivers work is that the driver will make a mistake and kill you inadvertently. Waymo will not make a mistake. People are always saying the problem with driverless cars is they'll make mistakes. No. They don't make mistakes, and that's the problem.
So they're too effective at what they're doing. They're too good at it. They're not going to kill enough people, which is a hilarious thing to come up with. I think he's right. If you are a person who's walking in the road and you're in a Waymo and it just stops and then you wait there for hours, that's impractical. You can't do that. But if you're with it, like let's say you're in New York or something and you're in a taxi and somebody gets in front of a taxi driver, that guy's got to go and make money. Or like anybody driving their car, just imagine all these protests that happen all the time now. And a car just pulls up to them. You're going to have to find another way around. You're not going to wait until they're finished.
Well, this was happening in LA and San Diego because protesters would call Waymos to the protest and then light them on fire. And Waymo would just send another car and like keep sending another car.
Oh, I see your car hasn't arrived unburnt. We'll just send another one.
Send another one
They were
to its
calling
fiery
them
death.
to burn them?
Mm-hmm. Or so I heard. But
that's horrible.
It's this like, oh, the computer is set a certain way and can't adapt to real-time circumstances. So, yeah, I hadn't thought about it being overly cautious.
It's too smart. It cannot adapt to how stupid humans are sometimes. And he's right. The deterrent is if you go into a road, somebody's not going to pay you the attention that they should. And so you got to be careful not to, like we always tell our kids, look both ways when you cross the street all the time. Like we go on walks with them all the time. And anytime we walk past a driveway, we're like, oh, stop, look both ways. Which is, obviously as an adult, you're pretty easy to do it. But as a kid, they just don't think about it. So we're like just getting it into their heads. But if they're growing up in a future where everybody's just in a perfect driving car that always stops and you never have to worry about that.
Yeah, kind of like U Village. The culture at U Village, people like don't even glance when cars, because you just
nuts.
stop. Cars stop. Like it's a pedestrian city.
I feel like that's the way it is kind of everywhere downtown. Almost. Like I see people walking across the street all the time. The thing that drives me the most nuts is when I see people walking with their phones and they'll walk across. I'm like, don't you have some like semblance of like wanting
Don't even look up. Yeah.
Yeah, just self-protective thing that kicks in. They're just staring at their phone, walking across the crosswalk, doing nothing. There was a lady, I was in Green Lake the other day. My son was in the car and I was in Green Lake and we have to stop in the middle of the road because some lady just decides to walk off the sidewalk, staring at her phone, and my son goes, "What's she doing, Dad?" And I was just like, she's stuck on her phone. I was like, use this image, son. Like, never be like this person who just walks in the street. If I wasn't noticing, easily could have hit her, and she would have probably been in the wrong. She wasn't even in a crosswalk.
No, she would have, if she wasn't in a crosswalk, that's tricky. I don't know. When I'm a driver, I am so like easy to rage at pedestrians. Get out of my way. Look where you're walking. And then when I'm a pedestrian, I'm like, oh, I'm standing in the rain.
Flips. Yeah.
Let me walk.
Let
me go.
I have the right of way. All right. Super fun show today. Thank you guys so much. Laura, great job. This has been a blast.
This was so fun.
I think we're going to probably be like this tomorrow. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay tuned for John Curley. Bye-bye.
Pacific Northwest community searching for answers.
Tragedy in northern Idaho.
Unbelievable. You just don't expect somebody to do that to a firefighter.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is there.
Those firefighters, they arrived here to put out a fire started by the suspect. They had no idea where those bullets were coming from.
Stay with KIRO News Radio for the latest from the local voices you trust.
Attacks on first responders is sick.
KIRO News Radio on 97.3 FM and the KIRO News Radio app.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
Lowe's knows how to set off your July 4th with savings. Right now, buy one, get one free on select one-coat coverage interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get two select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for just $10. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for more details.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckle